It's Free Talk Live, and you can join us here on the live Saturday edition of the program. Our toll-free number, it's 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We also have Skype, and you can Skype on in here at username LRN.FM. And that allows you to, bring up whatever's on your mind. That is kind of the point here of Free Talk Live. Joining you in our beautiful Keene, New Hampshire studios tonight, it's Ian.
And Mark.
As we go to a special guest. Now, normally it's open phones all the time here on Free Talk Live, and we will still take your calls about anything a little bit later. But we do want to talk to Lynn Ulbricht, who is the mother of Ross Ulbricht, who has been, apparently there's been some headlines recently about some book that has come out. I honestly hadn't heard about this thing until Lynn brought it to my attention. We've got Lynn Ulbricht on the line here. Where are you at tonight? Are you in New York, Lynn?
Yeah, I'm in Connecticut, but it's close.
Close and better than New York.
Yeah, I mean, it's not super close, but I can go see Ross and everything. So
your son is in prison on a double life sentence plus 40 years or something ridiculous like that.
That's right.
For running a website called The Silk Road. Here on Free Talk Live, we have chronicled as much of it as we could. We heard about it, I think, way back in like 2011 or 2012, kind of like right around the same time when we first heard about Bitcoin. And Bitcoin, for the listeners that don't know, is this amazing cryptocurrency that is taken the world by storm. It's close to $1,600.
Oh God, is it really?
Yeah, per Bitcoin. It's been shooting up over the last few months. And Ross Ulbricht, your son, founded the Silk Road, which was this sort of infamous underground marketplace where people could buy and sell, let's say, illegal drugs, for instance. And it got a lot of news coverage as a result of that, which, of course, brought a lot of attention from law enforcement. And they eventually ended up targeting Ross. Nobody knew it was Ross at the time, obviously. He was using a pseudonym, Dread Pirate Roberts. And they targeted him. They finally arrested him and shut down the Silk Road in October of 2013, I believe. He's been in federal custody ever since, ultimately being convicted by a jury of his so-called peers in what was a stacked show trial. To sum up, a ridiculous trial that had so many outrages that we would spend an hour just trying to.
Yeah, the trial was, just the end of the story. The trial was un-American.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Very un-American.
And now, so you're appealing. I don't know if there's any news about that. But the reason you actually asked to come on the show here tonight because there's some kind of book that's been published that you said has been. I don't know what the word was that you used. You weren't very happy. It didn't seem like about this particular book. And I want to say before you go into what you want to say, I never heard about this book until you sent me an email, and then one of our listeners, just so happened like at around the same time to post something on our Facebook group for Free Talk Live amplifiers, and otherwise I hadn't heard a thing about it. So the one downside to this, Lynn, is if you mention the book's name, it's going to get free publicity here.
Yeah, well, they're being published by a big publisher and getting tons of mainstream publicity. And so, look, it's hard to fight the mainstream media, as you know, I'm sure, and that's what you guys do. But I did want to at least speak out to the people who go a little deeper than this incredibly shallow, and really it's the government narrative, this book that's a dramatization of it, and just to say my piece about it, and then I'm not going to do it anymore because, for one thing, it's emotionally draining. It really is.
So this author, whoever this person is, did they even bother to contact you?
Yeah, he tried to convince me to be part of it and he was very manipulative about that, but I was warned against it. I was warned against it. I was told it was going to be the government narrative. I have since been told that he actually got a lot, and this is someone I can't prove this, but this is someone I trust, that he got his information fed to him from the government and saw things even before trial. Basically, whatever they wanted to give him, they did. And the way I see it is they weren't confident enough to charge Ross at trial for murder for hire, so they're having him do it, basically. And that's what he's doing. There's also, he uses, I haven't read the book. I don't know if I will, but I've read excerpts. But Christopher Tarbell, who was the lead investigator, and Karl Mark Force, who's a corrupt agent who is now in prison.
He's in prison.
Yeah, and Curtis Green were all paid for their participation in this book.
Jeez.
They're
Wow.
paid. And so, and so he's relying on these people. And apparently, I'm told he doesn't even mention anything beyond that Ross is the only one. He deserves life, kind of prying into his personal life, or although there's lots of things I've read that are inaccurate, and doesn't even mention it's an appeal. It's a narrative. It's made to be a movie. And so it's very shallow and sensationalistic. Ross, meanwhile, sitting in a cage, can't defend himself, can't speak out against it, can't say. But what I really am asking people to realize is he's basing it all on this murder for hire that the government never charged at trial. And this is part of the appeal.
That's because they can't prove, I don't think, that Ross was Dread Pirate Roberts. You know, even if those conversations really did happen, what they're referring to was basically, and I'm probably going to misremember some of the details on this, but a federal agent was supposedly talking with Dread Pirate Roberts.
Corrupt federal agent who's now in prison. That's the agent.
Right.
Carl Force.
Yeah.
So just to be clear.
And that there was some sort of information that he was being paid to, that Ross or Dread Pirate Roberts was paying to receive. About possible federal investigations and things like that. And the idea was one of the administrators had rolled over on Ross, or something like that, had rolled over on the site, had gotten caught, and the idea was, well, I should hire someone to kill this person. Am I misremembering any of that, Lynn?
Yeah, that's pretty. I mean, that's pretty good overview. The chat said it was based on material submitted by a corrupt agent, and experts have told me there's no way to know if he didn't write the whole thing.
Exactly.
Curtis Green, who is the fake victim, actually told me that he thinks there's lots of Dread Pirate Roberts. He doesn't think there's just one. And that is basically the consensus of anyone who was really on the Silk Road. But Nick Bilton, this author, says, "Oh yeah, he's the only one, and he deserves life."
Didn't you tell us recently? Yeah, didn't you tell us recently that after your son Ross Ulbricht was put into federal custody, that somebody who obviously wasn't your son logged into the Dread Pirate Roberts account on the Silk Road forums?
That's accurate.
Yeah.
And that was 7 weeks after Ross was in prison. This was, of course, he never mentions this in his interviews or anything or in the book. Also, what was found was tampering of evidence that the jury saw, a big deletion of an important part of evidence, which was about probably another corrupt agent. So,
yes. Well, yeah, we know there's at least probably one more out there because one of Ross's mentors, plural of Mongoose, I forget
that's that whole thing too.
Yeah, I forget what his real name was.
Variety Jones.
Yeah.
Thomas Clark is his name.
Variety Jones. That this guy had essentially, evidence that there was another federal agent feeding information to him and threatening him.
Yes.
And threatening you and your daughter ultimately with kidnapping because he was trying to extrapolate or extract from Ross a password to one of the Silk Road wallets. So he, the corrupt federal agent, or she, could get access to the Bitcoin that was in there. And there's some deep, ugly allegations and that on that side of things. So there's probably at least one, maybe more than one, another nasty, corrupt federal agent involved.
One thing's for certain is that we can look at the evidence that the forensic computer analysis provides that there was more than one Dread Pirate Roberts.
Which was something that the defense wanted to present to the jury in the case, but was prohibited from doing so.
Wouldn't let him. And that's why I say the trial was un-American. I mean, it was just one of those things. Sometimes that happens in U.S. history. Sometimes miscarriages of justice occur. I know most Americans go on with their days without thinking about it very much. But we watched this case, and I can tell you that's what happened.
Lynn, hang on. We're going to come back with more. I'm sure you've got some time, right?
Oh, sure.
All right, more with Lynn Ulbricht. She's the mother of Ross, and you can go, by the way, to freeross.org if you want to support Ross and the legal fund, because appeals and federal trials are not cheap. Lawyers for those things are not cheap. Freeross.org. There's more coming up. If you've got a question for her, actually, I think we got somebody on the line with one. Hopefully he'll hang on to. It's Free Talk Live.
Warning. If you've recently declared bankruptcy, you're going to want to cover your ears, because there's an alternative to bankruptcy, and it could be better than you'd ever think possible. But if you've already declared bankruptcy and have missed this opportunity, you'll want to cover your ears now. Here it is. Right now, the company that has resolved more credit card debt than anyone in the U.S. may be able to settle your debt, too. You could resolve your debt with one low monthly program payment. If you call right now and qualify, Freedom Debt Relief will show you how low your monthly program payment could be for free. Call now, 1-800-660-1581. That's 1-800-660-1581. If you're struggling with debt, this could be your answer. And the bigger your debt, the more money you could save. To find out for free how much of your hard-earned money Freedom Debt Relief could help you save, call now. 1-800-660-1581. 1-800-660-1581. 1-800-660-1581.
Hey, diabetics. Yeah, you. Got a spare hour to waste going to the pharmacy to get your insulin or other meds and supplies every month? I didn't think so. Me either. I've got life going on, which is why I use PillPack. PillPack is an amazing online pharmacy. They package up all my diabetic meds and testing supplies into daily doses and send it to me every month, automatically. All I do is pay my normal copay. PillPack does the rest. I'm serious. This is a free service. They don't even charge for shipping. PillPack handles all the medical insurance stuff and even get with my doctors for my other prescriptions so I don't have to, which is good because that's the stuff I forget. But PillPack remembers everything. They even package up my daily vitamins so I remember to take them too. If you're diabetic, your meds and supplies are life and death, which means you need PillPack. Call right now for this free service. You may even qualify for $25 in free vitamins. 800-560-7310. That's 800-560-7310. Again, 800-560-7310.
When commercials come on, don't push the button. Instead, listen. Even if you don't sell things for a living, you're still selling in the various conversations and transactions that make up your busy day. With money and attention so scarce now, effective communication skills have never been more important, especially if you're a job seeker. So take a lesson from Madison Avenue. Often the fewer words, the more effective the message. Like Jiffy Lube, where you never need an appointment, or the Office Max ad that says, you supply the ambition, we supply everything else. How about online ticket broker StubHub.com, the way in when it's sold out, or CyberCupidMatch.com's seductive, go ahead, it's okay to look. How cleverly and succinctly can you distill your message? For more tips, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. Facebook.freetalklive.com.
What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveitpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. Saveitpurse.com.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live, and you can take control of the airwaves here. You can bring up whatever is on your mind. Our number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. With you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
And Mark.
We've got Skype as well. The Skype username here is lrn.fm. Although if you want to talk to Lynn Ulbricht, you can't call on Skype. You'll have to call our normal toll-free line, 855-450-FREE. That's because we've got Lynn on Skype. And we're going to get right back into that discussion here with the mother of Ross Ulbricht, a.k.a. Dread Pirate Roberts, or at least a one-time Dread Pirate Roberts on the Silk Road, because we don't know exactly how many Dread Pirate Robertses that there have been. But he's the one who went to prison for it, and that's where he is right now, where there's an appeal pending. By the way, Bitcoin was made, I think, very popular thanks to the Silk Road. I think the Silk Road was probably a major factor in why Bitcoin became as successful as it is today. But Bitcoin is much larger than black markets. Bitcoin is a legal thing to have. Cryptocurrencies are legal in the United States and most countries around the world, but you got to have somewhere to store your cryptocurrency, and or at least at the very least the keys to your cryptocurrency, which is what the wallet software does. Now, there's different wallets out there, and there's one that is the official wallet of Free Talk Live. It's called Jaxx, JAXX.io. You can download it there or go to your Google or Apple App Store, and it can hold not just Bitcoin, but also Ether and Dash and other cryptocurrencies. It is also with Shapeshift integration, which means you can easily exchange between your currencies within the wallet. It was created by Anthony DiOrio, who is a Free Talk Live listener and one of the founders of Ethereum. It's also super easy to back up your wallet and recover your funds with Jaxx. They're striving to give you command over your digital life, coins, contracts, currencies, identity, and more. It's your digital command center in the palm of your hand. It's Jaxx, the official wallet of Free Talk Live, and it's cross-platform, across Windows, Linux, Mac, phones, and even browser plugins. So go to jaxx.io and get yours there. As we go back to Lynn Ulbricht, she is on the line with us from Connecticut, talking about some outrageous book that has been published to essentially drag your son's name through the mud even further than it was already dragged by the federal government. With murder allegations, which have never been proven, have never been charged, but yet, they're trotting him out once again here to try to make Ross look like some sort of violent, terrible drug kingpin.
Exactly. It's kind of old stuff, really. The headlines in some of the places that have picked up on this book or act like it just happened. It's old. It's 3 years old. It's already been well discussed that they did not bring them to trial. They did not prosecute the indictment. It's just like, why not? But who needs trials when you've got books like this, which, do the work of the federal government and apparently get their information from the federal government.
And even paid the federal agents, including the corrupt ones that went to prison, to comment. We've got a question on the line. Would you mind taking a call?
No, that's fine.
All right, let's go to Mark. He's in Utah. Mark, you're on with Lynn Ulbricht on Free Talk Live. Oh, you got to turn down that radio, Mark. Otherwise, it's going to be super confusing. Mark going once. Mark.
Oh, sorry. Hello?
Yeah, you got to turn down the radio. Otherwise, it gets really confusing on the air. Go ahead.
Yeah, I actually just barely plugged my headphones back in, and so right as you were on there. Sorry about that.
You're on with Lynn.
I wanted to say that. Hello, Lynn. I'm honored to be speaking with you. I think that your son is a hero.
Yeah.
And in no way, deserves what has happened to him. Just wanted to sort of say that and say I'm very honored to be speaking with you. So
you didn't have
very kind.
You just wanted to say something nice. No question for Lynn while you're here.
No. Well, I guess
I'll take nice.
Yeah. Well, I just want to be nice to Miss Ulbricht. She's been through a lot, and she occasionally probably does need some words of encouragement.
You're right. I do, and this has been a tough week because it's hard to read all this basically garbage, and especially stuff that I know isn't true. And I'm like, wait a second, I was there. I know that's not true, sort of thing. And he just talks about it like it's all real, and then other journalists, in their echo chamber, don't question it, don't dig at all deeply beyond an inch, and just keep repeating it. And this is what I have found with much of the media. It's a problem.
Thank you, Mark, for the call tonight. I appreciate the kind words, and I'd like to echo those.
Thank you.
It's wonderful to have the fact that you're the mother of this guy who was come after by the federal government, attacked with all kinds of a nasty broad brush, and badgered in the media, attacked by the feds, charged with these crimes that try to make him look like some kind of a terrible person, and you know him differently than that, and so does everybody who knows him.
Right.
And so for you to stand by him throughout all of this is an incredible task, and you deserve a lot of credit for everything that you've done. And, of course, freeross.org. You helped put that up, which has helped raise a lot of money for what has gone on, and continues to raise money because you need help. I think you told us that you second mortgaged your house or something like that. You're not rich. You're not a rich family.
We don't have a house anymore.
Right.
Yeah. No house. No, we're not rich, and we're especially less rich. Not that we were after this. It's incredibly expensive to fight the federal government, which is wrong. Yeah. It really leaves, the justice system doesn't leave room for people who don't have millions and millions of dollars. And that's a whole other subject. But no, it's true. It's very expensive. But I think it's important, not just for Ross, but there's so many precedents that are being set with this case that put us all in peril.
Yeah, one of those precedents would be the idea that someone should be responsible for the things that happen on a website that they found. I mean, as though Ross is somehow responsible for someone selling a dangerous product on what was essentially a free market website that that he created to where people could sell pretty much what they want. I mean, there were a couple of banned categories, but
there were.
Again, should we be held responsible for something that one of our commenters posts on our website? Should I be held responsible over on freekeen.com for some sort of illegal thing that a commenter posts? I mean, it's just outrageous, the idea that someone who's engaging in what should be freedom of speech, the programming of a website, the words, you write words down on a screen to make a website, basically, and that's what they're saying here is part of the criminal act, and I think it's a dangerous precedent.
Yeah, so
I agree.
We used to have a forum at bbs.freetalklive.com. I think we've still got something like that now, but people we've had people threaten to post child pornography on the forum as though that would do something to us, and with this kind of precedent, maybe it would have.
Yeah.
Now we wouldn't have done anything except host a forum, but if somebody posted that stuff and we didn't, and somebody got a screenshot and somebody sent it to some law enforcement agency before we managed to get it down and delete it, whatever it might be,
you're right.
Something could happen.
No, it's absolutely sets that precedent. It's a slippery slope. And, for example, Amazon was being sued by a mother whose daughter bought cyanide on Amazon. So by the same theory, Jeff Bezos ought to be carted off,
Except he's got, countless lawyers and $1 billion to throw at it. Lynn, hang on. We're going to come back with more with Lynn Ulbricht from freeross.org. Ross Ulbricht, the founder of the Silk Road, is her son, and we'll take your calls as well. It's Free Talk Live.
The final phase of extermination is set to commence now. And as population die-off becomes evident, you know it is the time of punishment in all that is written. The cover for mass die-off is evolution and global warming frauds, also used as false proof of their Christ. They are from the lines that were disinherited 2,000 years ago. Now they claim to be his Christ based upon blood type, DNA, and long lifespan. Go to unveilingthem.com. That's UNVEILING them.com.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Sling bow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug-out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of sling bow. A new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Free Talk Live.
You guys live in a dream world.
No, sir, you're the one that lives in a dream world. You're the one that wants to have a police state in America where you get to determine who can come in and who can't. You want to have border patrols. You want to have checkpoints.
You want to let the entire third world into this country?
Sir, I'll answer that question by reading a short excerpt from a poem. Maybe you've heard of it. It happens to appear at the bottom of the Statue of Liberty. It was about...
You're poor, you're tired, huddled masses.
Right, you are aware of it,
yes. Let them come in legally.
Well, come on, the legally, Lou. The legal is such a cop-out. Now, hold on a second, because when your ancestors came across, and I don't know what they are, let's say they're Italian. When your ancestors came across, all they did was take you to Ellis Island, screw up your last name, sit you around for 3 days, and then bam, you're out the door. Now, legal is a huge pile of paperwork and tens of thousands of dollars.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
I've been told no in many different ways.
I give you an order and you're going to obey it.
George, you can go this way. You can do that and you have to leave here.
You cannot bring signs into the rally.
Walk with me. Well, I'm comfortable here, actually. Whoa, hey. Who do you think you are? Excuse me.
There is no video or audio allowed in this hospital.
No, I have work today. This is...
You ain't going to make it.
Wait a minute.
Whoa.
Hey! Oh my God! Unbelievable! Why are you running from me? Because you're scared me. What am I being detained for?
You're being served.
What is this?
You're being served.
What is this? Bureaucrats have a funny way of telling people no.
That's the sound of the men working on the chain.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com.
You can connect with the Liberty Radio Network via our Facebook page at facebook.lrn.fm. That's facebook.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live Saturday edition of the program. You can dial in toll free. If you got a question for Lynn Ulbricht, she's here with us. She's the mother of Ross Ulbricht, the founder of the Silk Road, the world's most infamous underground darknet website that ran for a couple of years, uninterrupted, basically. And as our last caller pointed out, we didn't really dig into this. I think Ross, and I agree with the last caller, he is a hero for putting the Silk Road online. He actually, in my opinion, saved people's lives. I understand that during the sentencing at his trial, his federal trial last year, they trotted out people who claimed that their kid had gotten killed from buying heroin on the Silk Road or whatever. But, that may be true because
heroin kills people.
Heroin can kill people. Drugs and drug abuse can certainly kill people, and people could buy drugs from the Silk Road. But the black market also kills people. And people who are just trying to buy drugs on the black market have ended up dead through being robbed, for instance, or ended up dead because the heroin that they purchased on the black market from some street dealer wasn't the same consistency batch to batch, so they might have ended up getting a batch that was, let's say, 10 times stronger than their normal batch, and then they didn't know that, so they dosed, and they ended up with 10 times the dose that they normally would dose, and then they overdosed and died. I mean, that happens in the black market, whereas on the Silk Road, you actually had kind of an open, anonymous marketplace where these anonymous drug sellers would sell, and they still do on other websites now that are sort of aping what the Silk Road did, so it hasn't made it go away, the feds busting the Silk Road. But this open market competition led to consistency in the drug batches, the drugs being exactly what they were advertised as being most of the time, whereas in the black market they are frequently not what they are advertised as being. So, in my opinion, the Silk Road's existence actually led to greater safety in the black market, which has historically been a very, very dangerous place to do business. And from that aspect, not only did he save the lives probably of a number of drug users who would have otherwise died due to bad drug batches in the the street markets, but also likely saved the lives or prevented from some of the peaceful drug dealers from being robbed or ripped off by doing street deals as well. So I think there was a lot of actual harm reduction that came out of the Silk Road, and I suspect, Lynn, that you agree with that assessment. Lynn Ulbricht with us. from Skype.
Yeah, I just want to make it clear, I'm certainly not advocating drugs or even the Silk Road. But I have read studies that there's harm reduction, and Neil Franklin of LEAP is very much says that, and he worked on the streets in law enforcement.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to just address the thing about the sentencing, and look, my heart goes out to any parent who's lost a child, although he was an adult, but he's still your kid, just like Ross's mine. But there was no proof of this. We hired a forensic pathologist to go through the autopsies of what the government claimed were deaths from Silk Road. There was absolutely no proof they were from Silk Road. A couple of them there was no proof they were from drugs at all. One of them had just gotten out of the hospital. And the point in the appeal about this is that this kind of emotionalism and manipulation of emotionalism at a sentencing is not proper. You don't bring in this kind of emotional, unproven thing in a sentencing to bolster your sentence. It's supposed to be based on proven fact. And once again, the government pulled this little drama, and it was very sad. But at the same time, you're not supposed to have that go on in a courtroom. So it's kind of like Nick Bilton going, "Oh, he did murder for hire," with no proof and no charge.
This is the
and it's
author.
Like, well, anybody? Yeah. Oh, sorry, that's the author. And it's like anyone can say this stuff, and it's very reckless.
Let's go to the phones here. I got another caller, I believe, with a question for you. Dana is on the line in Grand Rapids, listening to WTKG. Dana, you're on with Lynn Ulbricht.
Hi, Lynn.
Hi.
Hi. I have a thing about injustice. Now, I'm not a social justice warrior at all, but when things are so clearly it's so obvious that it's a setup, there is a rage inside of me. I just can't describe it, but I'm not this sign-carrying person. If you saw me, I'm tiny, petite, blonde, blue-eyed, little girly girl. So I'm not your typical SJW.
That's a powerful woman.
But,
come on.
But here's the thing. I would expect if Ian or Mark or you wronged me, okay, fine. We have been raised. That's not fine, but here's my point, because I do have a question for you. We have been raised with an expectation. Doctors don't lie, lawyers, judges, presidents of the United States or other countries. And not my head, not the intellect in me, but my heart wants to believe that there are certain people you can go to that you can trust. In this day and age, and for many years now, I would trust a nobody on the street, a beggar, before I would trust someone in power, because the abuse of power has been so great. And I'm going to give you an example, and then I'll ask you the question. Obama standing in front of the relatives of 4 dead people that they let die, that they were under siege for hours, that they knew almost immediately was terrorism, and they put an innocent man in jail, blaming him for a video, and it had nothing to do with it. The fact that people are still defending that man over Benghazi brings that rage. I can't tell you what my stomach feels like. It gets so tight. And I don't even know that man that did the video, but that someone went there and nobody defended him. So here's my question. And this is going to probably be more, because you don't know where the left is, nowhere when you need them. But have no libertarians or conservative lawyers from think tanks or anywhere, because you're raising money for an appeal. Where have you been contacted by any lawyers willing to do an appeal pro bono for Ross because of the injustice that what was done to him by, government people, that by your own words, you said that one guy is sitting in jail. Have you been contacted? So you don't have to further incur any more debt. Not that you wouldn't do
Dana,
it
thank
gladly,
you for
because-
the question.
I get the question. And I do agree. You know, one of the things that has opened my eyes through this whole thing is that our American traditions, and like Mark said, that was un-American, have been hijacked. So it was very upsetting for me, and I am angry about it. And that's one of the reasons I'm speaking out, is because, you know, it's been hijacked by people who do not honor our basic American values and of truth and justice and mercy and fairness and freedom. As regards lawyers, I have had a lot of help, but no one has stepped forward to do an entire appeal or trial or anything pro bono.
It'd be a lot
of work. It's a lot of work. It's a big commitment. I'm always trying to strike deals, believe me. All
this has been paid for out of your family, what you've been able to raise, and your family's savings. And I can only imagine it's been catastrophic.
We don't have any of those savings anymore. Yeah, right. I mean, our IRA's gone, our savings are gone. And then what I've been able to raise, and with help from some, big donors, but a lot of small donors, a lot. It's been a real grassroots effort, and that's what it has to be. And that's why I don't like talking to the mainstream media and going big media and all that, because that's not who's going to care, or who's going to care about the truth, as far as I can tell. And maybe that's not all of them, but so it's been a real grassroots thing.
The thing about this, Lynn, is this is really hard to find the truth in. You got to dig a little bit to realize that that this was just a complete and utter kangaroo court. And journalists don't have that kind of time. They want to read the headline, see what the story's worth it, and go.
And copy it for their own story.
That's what
they've done any
exactly.
research. Lynn, hang on. Can you stick with us for one more segment?
Sure.
All right. We got another question for you, I believe, from the audience. If you got a question for Lynn, it's 855-450 free, like freedom. This is Free Talk Live.
Have you ever thought you'd like to flip houses but didn't know how or where to get the money? Are you ready to be your own boss so you can start living the good life? Hi, I'm Preston Neely. I used to be so broke. I had my electricity turned off 9 times, but I figured out a way to quit my job and find financial freedom in real estate. For a limited time, I want to send you a free copy of my smash hit selling book, How to Get Rich in Real Estate. It shows you how to copy exactly what I did so you can make money from the comfort of your own home without even doing any manual labor. I've already given away 5,000 books and they're going fast. To get one before they're gone, call 1-800-958-9256. Listen, if you're sick and tired of stressing about money, this book could change your life. It's short, fun to read, easy to understand, and awesome. To find out how to get your free book while supplies last, call 1-800-958-9256. Call 1-800-958-9256. 1-800-958-9256.
Hi, this is Sophie Winnick, longtime distributor and user of longevity products. In the last few years, my family went through a crisis. Everything else in my life, including my business, had to be put on the back burner. Thankfully, life is getting back to normal now. But the one thing I never had to worry about was my business and my monthly commission. I've been a distributor for longevity for over 17 years, since before it was longevity. And I've got to say, the most amazing thing about this company is the people. While my family was in crisis, other distributors stepped in and helped my customers, simply because that's what longevity people do, even for people they don't know. For me, it has never been about getting rich. It was about a product I could stand behind, a company I could count on, and a monthly commission check that has never, not once, been late in 17 years. Longevity is truly a business for everyone, even people who have too much to do. I'm Sophie Winnick. I'm just like you. I have a real life, real ups and downs, but I know I will always have longevity.
So, I heard somebody say that 50 is the new 25. I mean, I can live with that, but isn't age just a number? I mean, if you feel good and look good, who cares about numbers anyway? I take care of myself, and, well, I use Nature's Youth RSF. From, you guessed it, Nature's Youth. Think of the money you spend on things that make you feel better for just a little bit, and then think of spending the same amount or less on something that can make you look and feel better for a lifetime. How about the facts? The ingredients in Nature's Youth RSF work naturally, providing just the right environment to support healthy HGH levels while maintaining homeostasis. RSF is non-toxic, and it doesn't contain any synthetic hormones, which can weaken your endocrine system. Simply add RSF to your sensible diet and exercise plan. You can, and will, thank me later. Forget about that aging number I mentioned and focus on the anti-aging number. 800-333-6923. That's 800-333-6923 and online at naturesyouth.com. Nature's Youth. Live your life.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media, and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free, at apps.lrn.fm.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk live Saturday edition of the program, inviting you to join us here. We'll open the phones up to any topic coming up here in moments. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, but if you've got a question for Lynn Ulbricht, we can try to get you in here in this remaining segment of the first hour of our live Saturday show. With you tonight, it's Ian.
And Mark.
Also mentioned Bitcoin earlier. It is getting close, about $1,550, I guess, right now. $1,550 per Bitcoin. When we first started talking about the Silk Road, it was probably like $3 per Bitcoin. And so things have changed quite a bit for Bitcoin. But right now, if you want to learn more about Bitcoin, what I'd invite you to do is go to Bitcoin.com. It's the most unique online destination in the Bitcoin universe. Whether you want to buy Bitcoin or discuss Bitcoin, you can do it there. They've got a forum, and it's always open and censorship-free at forum.bitcoin.com. Plus, go ahead, Mark.
I just want to say that, many people, when they think of Bitcoin, I've had a friend that I talked to very recently. The first thing that came out of his mouth was, Bitcoin's used for drugs. Right, and
so's cash.
We were just talking about Silk Road, and it's no doubt that Bitcoin was the currency on Silk Road because it has some, it had some aspects of cash that
it's pseudonymous.
Yeah, it's it has more anonymity, like cash does. When you hand cash from $100 from $100 bill from one person to another, other than maybe some fingerprints on it, there's really nothing, and there's no real way to trace it back. And Bitcoin has some similarities. But if you were to look at what most drug dealers do business in, it would be the U.S. dollar. The idea that you would paint Bitcoin with some kind of drug brush because it was used on Silk Road is pretty ridiculous because, frankly, you don't do the same thing for the U.S. dollar.
Right. And so if you want to learn more about Bitcoin, check it out over at bitcoin.com. They got games you can play with your Bitcoin. And they've got news at their news side of the site. It's really a fancy, really great site. Bitcoin.com to learn more. Whether you're an expert at Bitcoin or you're brand new, you'll find something valuable there. Lynn Ulbricht is with us. She's been updating us on the latest with Ross, which actually we haven't even really gotten into that. We've been talking about this outrageous book that's been published to drag your son's name through the mud. Ross, the founder of the Silk Road, the underground infamous drug marketplace, who is now in prison for the rest of his life, plus double that sentence plus 40 years or something crazy. You're trying to appeal. Is there any update, by the way, Lynn, on the appeal process? What's going on there?
Yeah, I mean, he is sentenced to be in prison for the rest of his life. As far as I'm concerned, he will not be in prison for the rest of his life. But just so you know, I'm holding that very firmly.
It's good to be optimistic.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Anyway, what's happening with the appeal is we're waiting. It's been about 6 months, and the court is deliberating, and the ruling can happen any day.
Okay.
So they're deliberating on whether or not you get an appeal or whether
the appeal's been submitted.
Okay.
Yeah, the appeal is being determined. So now they are weighing the arguments of the appeal, and from what I understand, there's basically three things that can happen. One is nothing, and it just stays what it is, and then we would appeal that. You can continue the process.
Right.
One is a retrial based on arguments in the appeal, and one is the convictions stand, but a resentencing with a different judge. Well, a retrial with a different judge too. We've specifically asked for obvious reasons.
Right.
So those are the three things that can happen. We're hopeful. We've been told by many lawyers that when it takes a while, it's a better sign. It's not a sure sign.
No, it's not. Nothing's ever for sure
Nothing's
with the courts.
For sure, but they're not just lightly, saying one thing or another. They're deliberating, and so we are hopeful.
You've got a strong case. I mean, in my opinion, as you mentioned before, there's the federal
I've never
agents.
seen such a miscarriage of justice.
Yeah, well, there's a federal. Well, I'm sure if you paid more attention to the federal courts, you'd see plenty more, Mark. But there's the federal
it's
corrupt.
Pretty blatant.
Yeah, corrupt agents, judges, obviously doing things they're not supposed to do.
How many times have we seen not one, not two, but three law enforcement officers go to prison?
Two have gone to prison so far.
Okay, excuse me.
And a third is well, pretty much there's evidence of a third. But the really outrageous thing is that the judge wouldn't allow the jury to know about the corrupt agents.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's what's really outrageous.
It's outrageous.
Yeah, it's bad you have corrupt agents stealing money and having access to the site.
It's bad you have corrupt judges cover for them.
And those corrupt agents
but
not
then
only
they couldn't even know about it.
Yeah, not only stealing money, but also being the ones who were, generating the evidence against Ross. So
they had the ability to.
Yeah.
We don't have proof that they did, but they certainly had the ability. They had the ability to even act as DPR.
Correct. Full administrative access.
One of them was working for the NSA at the time that he was investigating. He had all those tools.
I want to go to the phones here. We got another question for you from David. He's in New Mexico, listening to Kiva in Albuquerque. Go ahead, David.
Yeah, I got a question. Let me give you a quick series of comments from my close listening to what you've been saying. First of all, you just said these agents, they didn't allow their testimony. Well, don't answer this right away. Let me just make it a rhetorical question. What about the once a liar, always a liar is a legal doctrine. So in order to commit a fraud like these agents did, they had to have been lying, fraudulent in many different ways, and that should completely disqualify them. Everything. So once you get from there, you get fruit of the poison tree.
Right.
So that should mean that everything about them should be thrown out,
including all of the evidence they gathered. Yeah, I agree.
Right, and that makes it material to your case. As far as the jury should be hearing about that, as opposed to shouldn't be. They should absolutely be hearing about it. And then you were talking about the government, the court system has been hijacked. Yes, it's been hijacked entirely. That's why one of the things that I use is in our founding documents for this country, whether anybody likes it or not, it's there. The consent of driving their just powers. First of all, this is unjust by any reasonable person would say it. And they derive their just powers from the consent of the government or from the governed. And I have been saying publicly for several years now, I no longer consent. And if everybody who pays attention to this stuff, all of us started saying it like I say it now, we could simply walk away from this government without any violence whatsoever.
Sure would be
nice. If they tried any violence, those that refuse to consent just simply do not cooperate. In an analogy that I use, I grew up on a farm, livestock, like a mule. If you misuse the mule, abuse the mule, a mule will dig in its feet. A cow will do it too. A sheep will do it. All livestock will do it. If you treat them well, they'll generally do what you expect of them. But if you abuse them, they will lock in their feet. They will literally sit down, lay down, and you can beat them to literally to death.
Definitely need more of that. David, question if you've got one for Lynn. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, the end. I got more, but I'll get to another time.
Just do
the end question would have been. The end question is I have been doing this full time for 10 years, and I have noticed that there's many of these cases that this is as egregious as it gets. Unfortunately, there are many that are as egregious as it gets. And there are patterns. One of the patterns I see two of the patterns I see in your case. One is they'll pick on people that don't have the money, the power to fight, and that by definition is also unfair, unjust. But they will also forgive me, give me a couple seconds. the back to the not allowing the or I'm sorry, charging your son on on something else that they never charged for. So they're using something. Right. That is a common theme that happened. It happened to me. I also lost my children based on that.
You got to get to the question, David. You need to get to it now.
So that is the question. If you can expand, if you want to expand on that, that happens to many people like myself over and over again. And so if you expand on how they did that, what they did, I know you've done it already. There are many other people out there that have cases that can use your experience.
Thank you, David. I appreciate the call.
I agree, David, that it's not unique to Ross, which is one of the things that I think, I'm really trying to broaden my message to people and wake people up, because we are in peril. And Ross is not unique. Which is why, trial juries are on trial by jury is on its way out in this country. And if you go, you usually pay what they call a trial tax, which means a much harsher penalty if you lose. And it's set up for you to lose.
Right. At this point, there's the numbers are staggering as far as it goes. Far fewer than 1%. Fewer than 1% of cases actually make it to trial. And
fewer
I don't
than
think Americans have any idea. They watch CSI, they see these Law and Order shows, they think that everything goes to trial. Nothing goes to trial.
Lynn, final thoughts.
And then people plead to things they haven't done because they're warned, if you go to trial, we're going to
statistically, it has to be the truth. Statistically,
they'll throw the book at you if you don't take the plea.
Statistically, that's right.
And they did throw the book at Ross. Hopefully, the appeal will have some level of success, and I know we'll be hearing from you. Hopefully, as soon as you hear something, Lynn.
Absolutely, I'll keep you posted. Thank you guys so much for your support.
Thanks for calling tonight. Don't forget freeross.org. That's where you can go to help out, because they definitely could use your support. freeross.org. Lynn Ulbricht, thanks as always, and we'll continue with more Free Talk Live coming up. You've said it yourself. We need a healthcare system that focuses on health, not sickness. Health insurance pays for treating sickness but gives you nothing for being healthy. There's a free market healthcare company that gives you freedom from health insurance. They give you a proactive health assessment daily, no charge 24-hour access to doctors. Check them out right now at healthexcellenceselect.com. Any kind of doctor, traditional, integrative, chiropractic, acupuncture, and massage. You'll love the service and price. HealthExcellenceSelect.com. HealthExcellenceSelect.com.
Bitcoin.com is the most unique online destination in the Bitcoin universe. Buying Bitcoin? Do it here. Want to speak your mind to other Bitcoin users? Our forum is always open and censorship free at forum.bitcoin.com. There's no bigger Bitcoin believers than the Bitcoin.com team. That's why this site is a one-stop shop for everything you need to get into Bitcoin life. You can also play games at games.bitcoin.com. Learn more at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
In Survivor Max 2, School Bites, Max must scavenge through a wasteland swarming with the undead. Desperate to find the medicine he needs, he discovers a community of survivors at his former school. Has he finally found the safe haven he's been looking for, or will he discover that school bites? Look for Survivor Max on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, and read Chapter 1 at survivormax.com.
You may already know about the Free Talk Live audio-on-demand phone line at 641-793-9660. Did you know that not only can you listen to Free Talk Live via your phone, you can also leave a message and have it delivered to Free Talk Live's hosts? To leave us your thoughts, just dial 641-793-9660. That's 641-793-9660. Press 2 for Free Talk Live, and then hit 0 to leave your message.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next, after the news, here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Saturday, May 6th, 2017. Silver is trading at $16.35 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,228 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 2.3 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $1,548. Antiwar.com reports the USS George H.W. Bush, an American aircraft carrier parked perpetually off the coast of Iran, appears to have attracted the attention of Iran, and officials say that Iran's use of surveillance drones to keep an eye on the massive U.S. warship is a nuisance. Officials also hyped the presence of small Iranian naval vessels operating off the coast of Iran, claiming them to be naked aggression for sometimes being close to the U.S. carrier, despite also appearing to have never actually left Iranian waters by all indications. U.S. officials have repeatedly made a big deal about Iran having ships off their own coast, while Iranian officials have responded by saying that they think a better question is why the U.S. warships are 7,500 miles away from their own territorial waters and constantly looming around Iranian coast. The U.S. has had warships off the Iranian coast for years, mostly to shore up their constant threats to attack Iran. Iran, by contrast, has focused on a small coastal navy whose use would be purely defensive. Given the mostly offensive nature of the U.S. presence that Iran is preparing to defend itself will always be a sore spot. Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organization to show up in an emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare to the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411, because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com. That's getcell411.com. UPI reports President Donald Trump may now be planning to effectively starve the White House Office of National Drug Control Policy of its operating budget. According to sources and an inter-office memorandum, Trump's budget proposal would strip the office of 95% of its federal funding, slashing the agency's operating budget from nearly $400 million this year to just $24 million in fiscal year 2018. Such a funding cut could eliminate nearly half of the so-called drug czar personnel, 33 jobs, as well as research and intelligence capabilities. A number of programs and grants, including the Model State Drug Laws, High-Intensity Drug Trafficking Areas, and Drug-Free Community Support Programs, would also be shaken by the cut. The dramatic reduction in funds was contained in what's known as a passback document from the Office of Management and Budget, which uploaded the memo to its Max Collect budget database. The Office of National Drug Control Policy, created in 1982 under President Ronald Reagan, is responsible for managing the executive branch's anti-drug efforts and coordinating with state and local authorities on those ends. The ONDCP provides funds for task forces in 49 of the 50 states. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports the city of Portland, Oregon plans to subpoena Uber Technologies to force it to disclose software that helped its drivers evade local transportation regulators, according to a city official on Friday. Uber has acknowledged using the software known as Grayball to circumvent government officials who were trying to clamp down on Uber in areas where its service had not yet been approved, including Portland. It has since stopped the use of the software for that purpose, saying the program was created to check ride requests to prevent fraud and safeguard drivers. Reuters reported on Thursday that the U.S. Department of Justice had begun a criminal investigation into Uber's Grayball program and that a Northern California grand jury had issued a subpoena to Uber concerning how the software tool functioned and where it had been deployed. Portland began its own investigation of Grayball after the New York Times revealed its existence in March. Uber has shared some information with the city but has not turned over the Grayball software itself. The city said it found no evidence that Uber used Grayball to avoid inspectors since Uber was allowed to operate there in 2015. The Portland subpoena does not indicate what criminal laws are at issue in the probe. Likewise, Uber's grand jury subpoena does not list any federal statutes that may have been violated. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
Shortly after posting for the 10,000th time on his Twitter account earlier today, despite only ever accumulating 15 followers, local man Aaron Gartner announced he's about ready to quit the popular microblogging site.
Well, I opened my account about 2 years ago and tweeted pretty much every day since, and it didn't really turn out like I expected. I thought, once I hit 8,000 tweets, I could get some traction, start getting more followers, but it never really happened. I mean, I gave it my best shot, I guess, but I think I'm about done here.
He has yet to be followed by anyone beyond a handful of friends, family members, and seemingly inactive accounts.
This one time I tweeted out a pretty good joke about how out of control Lindsay Lohan is, and it actually got me a retweet. It was from this guy in Argentina I don't know, who doesn't have any followers, and he's not following anyone else. Oh, hold on a sec. Apparently my aunt's following me now. Cool.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can take control of the airwaves here. You can bring up whatever you want. Coming up, a Republican anti-gay candidate for office has been outed as a drag queen.
Former drag queen.
Former drag queen.
Everybody can change their life, you know what I mean?
But once fabulous, always fabulous, as far as I'm concerned. More coming up here on that. We're going to get into that story when we get a chance. It's Ian and Mark in the studio here for the live Saturday edition of Free Talk Live. We're launching into the second hour of the show. If you're just tuning in, we did have an extensive conversation with Lynn Ulbricht in the last hour about her son Ross, who was charged and convicted of running the Silk Road, the infamous underground darknet marketplace where all things were sold, like drugs, for instance, and they ended up putting him in prison for that for the rest of his life. We've got still some calls that I think were related, so we're going to go to those calls first, and then, of course, open the phones up to anybody who wants to call about anything. That is the point here on Free Talk Live. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's free like freedom. 855-450-3733. Let's go to Deborah. She's in New Mexico, listening via Kiva in Albuquerque. Hey, Deborah.
Hi, I have a couple of questions and a couple of statements, so I'll try to go through this quick, but it sounds like she's not there to answer these. Maybe you guys can.
Yeah, please.
First of all, did this guy break the law in selling these drugs? That sounds like it was underground, so it sounds like there was a law broken.
Well, most of the things that were sold on the Silk Road were not Ross. He was just the programmer or the creator of the site. He did initially...
There is some evidence that he might have sold some psilocybin mushrooms very early on.
Yeah, so he might have been...
But none of those reached the level of life sentences. 2 of them.
So who sold the drugs?
Thousands of people.
Yeah, who sells things on eBay is really it's that same sort of question.
Right. Imagine a marketplace like eBay where vendors and buyers can leave feedback for one another, even though.
So he did other websites. He did other websites besides this one.
He was the webmaster of this website, to the best of my knowledge.
Yeah, he created the Silk Road. They admitted that in the opening statement of the defense during the trial. He was the creator of the Silk Road. He did allegedly sell some mushrooms early on, but again, he's now been sentenced to 2 life sentences plus 40 years for this.
Well, to be quite honest, I don't think he should have life sentences. That's ridiculous. But
we don't either.
What should someone be sentenced to for selling to other adults who voluntarily want to buy something?
Well, this is my quandary. Okay, first of all, I do believe there are some corrupt courts and some corrupt lawyers. I do agree we need to kind of fix the situation there. But to me, it sounds like it's a manslaughter. If I was skiing down a hill going really fast and out of control and not following the rules and I hit someone and they died, that's considered manslaughter. So I think here's part of the problem here, and I want to be very respectful to the lady that you had. I mean, nobody wants to go through that situation. But I have a brother who's been on drugs, and I've had a son who's been on drugs, and it takes their life. It ruins their life. It ruins everybody around them. Horrible and horrific.
Why do we not hold? Look, I am sorry about that. And I've met a lot of people. A good friend of mine is in prison right now in South Carolina. He just can't get his life off of drugs, and it's taking him piece. He's doing life on the installment plan, piece by piece. But we don't hold alcohol manufacturers responsible for every drunk driving accident that happens in the country, because there would be no alcohol manufacturers if you did. And if you apply that same logic to drugs, then it's the responsibility of the person who used them, not the person who manufactured them or sold them or whatever, right?
Well, that's true, but that is true. But guess what? The sad part about it, and maybe this is the discrepancy, one is completely illegal and the other is legal. Now, I'm not saying that's
it's
correct,
licensed.
but it's legal and one is illegal. So, I mean,
why does that make a difference to you?
A license is the government taking a right from you and selling it back.
It doesn't, but the bottom line is that you have to change the laws first. I still try to live. My under the law, even though I don't agree with it. And if I don't agree with it,
well, what does that have to do? What is it? Well, hold on. What does whether or not it's illegal have to do with whether or not a user has responsibility for his or her own actions? I mean, I don't think
that's a new, even greater. Well, I mean,
are you
like
saying
a dealer having responsibility is a new, greater step into the process than anything else?
Yeah, I mean, are you saying that if at the age of 20, I have drink too much, I drink to the point where I die, that somehow the alcohol dealer is responsible there because it was illegal what I did, as opposed to if I was 21 and I drank till I died?
Well, let me finish. I don't think. Okay. And I would only qualify certain drugs that drug people either selling it, marijuana, let me qualify certain types of drugs, or users should go to jail. I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place there because most people who do drugs tend to be criminals. They have criminal activity.
That's not true at all. That's not true at all.
Well, my brother does, and my son did. They stole. They had sex with underage people. Listen. It is true.
No, it's not true at all. That may be your experience from, your case study of your life, but I can tell you I've known countless drug users, and they are not criminals. They are productive members of society who hold down a job and a career, and they have a family, and they like to smoke a joint at the end of the day instead of drinking alcohol.
So you're telling me that people who do drugs, and if you can qualify the types of drugs that they do, are better citizens, have better families, are better workers?
I didn't say that.
Well, they're better than the ones in prison, I can tell you that. They make better citizens than convicts, and that's what we're doing with them.
You're going to find the entire range of people that do drugs. You're going to find scummy people, and you're going to find upstanding, high-ranking members of society that do drugs. There's the whole gamut.
I can tell you that alcoholism is not great either. I know a lot of people who are alcoholics, and they're very abusive. What I'm trying to say is I don't agree necessarily with these people going to prison, although I think they have to have some type of a deterrent if they're caught doing other criminal activities.
Well, yeah, criminal activities that actually harm another person, they should be punished for. I mean, they should be providing restitution to their victims.
Activity that harms another person, how do you qualify that?
Well, if there's been something stolen, if there's been a robbery, if there's been somebody threatened, if somebody's actually been harmed physically, that's, harm. If somebody's just deciding to...
if I give my prescription drugs to someone else and they're harmed by it, should I be responsible?
If you give your gun to someone else and they walk in and rob a grocery store, should you be responsible?
Okay, as adults. We're talking about as adults,
I'm talking about adults. No, you're not responsible for other people's actions.
No, absolutely not.
Well, no, but if I gave it to them, so I have no responsibility.
No, of course not.
I'm just trying to figure this out.
You're probably going to feel bad. I would feel bad.
Yeah, you don't know what somebody else is going to do. The only way you would have responsibility is if the person said, "Hey, Deborah, I'd like to go rob that convenience store over there. Can I borrow your gun?"
Now, that's a different story.
Then you would have responsibility for it.
You're an accomplice.
Right, but if somebody comes up to you and says, "Hey, I heard you wanted to sell your gun. I'd like to buy it," and then they buy it from you, and then they go and rob a convenience store and you had no idea, then no, of course you have no responsibility for that.
Okay, what if I knew they were doing illegal activity, no matter how minor it was?
Well, then you would call them an American, because there's a book out right now. It's called 3 Felonies a Day, and it outlines how the average American is probably committing about 3 felonies a day, and that's that's a problem with the law that you said that we should respect until we change it.
Well, I do think it needs to be changed. I did admit that. I do think that there's corrupt people who take advantage of it and who are above it, which should not happen. And I do think we have way too many laws. Now, my proposal is that people who are on drugs, if they start to do crimes because of their drugs, I think we should have a 1, 2, 3, you're out. They should be put in programs to get off of those drugs if they're causing them to commit crimes. And they need to be long-term, and they need to be real. These programs are a bunch of malarkey. And I think that by the third time, if they don't get their act together, they should be put in jail.
Yeah, well, one of the reasons why the programs are not as effective is because they're loaded up with people who don't want to be there. So if you put somebody who is not ready to be helped into a place where they're supposed to be getting help, it's not going to be particularly effective for them. If you want to prevent crime, here's how you do it. And thank you, Deborah, for the call. It's been a good discussion. I appreciate it. If you want to prevent crime from drug users, here's what you do. You, across the board, end prohibition on all drugs. and you allow whatever drug we're talking about here, whether it be heroin or cannabis or, ecstasy, whatever, you allow them to be sold in the marketplace without having to beg permission or get some sort of permission slip from the government, because then the prices of those drugs will go down. As we've seen happening with cannabis in places like Colorado and Washington, the price will go down. And if the prices are more affordable, fewer people will have to commit robberies and break and enter and, cut the tops off of convertibles in order to get people's money for their drug supply. 855-450 free. You can join us. Free Talk Live. Do you need a website for your blog or new business? It can be pretty intimidating on your own, and that's why Free Talk Live has partnered with HostGator, one of the top hosting companies. HostGator offers a simple one-click, easy installation for WordPress, 24/7 over-the-phone or live chat tech support, and a very intuitive, user-friendly control panel that puts the power of creation back into your hands. Go to HostGator.com/FTL, and you'll get 50% off of their regular hosting prices. 50% off. HostGator.com/FTL. Free Talk Live has partnered with Amazon, the largest internet retailer. Imagine a department store category, and Amazon has it. Books, electronics, office products, furniture, jewelry, automotive, toys, clothing, sporting goods, and dozens of other categories. Now you can shop and support Free Talk Live by entering Amazon through our website. Go to shop.freetalklive.com, and Amazon will send us a portion of your purchase. You're going to do the shopping anyway, so remember to enter through our site at shop.freetalklive.com. That's shop.freetalklive.com.
Extendivite really works. Just listen to what some people have to say.
Several years ago, I was developing a very severe situation. I called it my flippy heart. It was doing not good things, and I did not want to go to a medical doctor because I just knew they would give me a cover-up pill. I didn't want to get onto that sort of thing at all. When I learned it was garlic and cayenne, and cayenne is a healer. It is a wonderful herb. I said, I think I'm onto something here. I'll tell you, I wouldn't be without it. It did wonderful things for me.
Extendivite is only $69.95 for a 2-month supply of either capsules or liquid. Call now. That's 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendivite.
Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper FPP News at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin, mymagicmud.com.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live, our toll-free number. If you want to join us here, whether it's the war on drugs or whatever is on your mind, you can dial in toll-free at 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733.
We all know that we need vitamins and minerals, but did you know that there are 3 other nutrients, or at least 3 classes of nutrients, that are essential for maintaining health? In fact, when it comes to supplements, some experts feel that these other 3 nutrients are needed more than vitamins and minerals. The other 3 nutrients are probiotics, enzymes, and antioxidants. The reason that they're so important is that the modern American diet has virtually eliminated regular sources of these nutrients from our meals. The problem is many people turn to supplements to supply these 5 essential nutrients. They find that they're sold separately. It's an expensive and time-consuming prospect. But one product, Whole Food Multi-Complete, has simplified the solution. Whole Food Multi-Complete combines these 5 critical nutrients along with additional immune and bone support nutrients into a single product. In fact, for the past 15 years, Whole Food Multi-Complete is the only product to offer this. So instead of spending a fortune buying 5 different products every month, check out the full supplement program offered by Whole Food Multi-Complete. With 54 total ingredients, it's guaranteed to be the cheapest way to acquire all these nutrients. And it also comes with a 100% satisfaction guarantee. 30% off with coupon code FTL, that's as in Free Talk Live, for your first order. It's basically costs for this company. Head on over and order now. SimplifyMySupplements.com with coupon code FTL. I've used it. The probiotic caused me to lose about just under 15 pounds, and I am delighted by it. I'm going to use this product forever. Whole Food Multi-Complete. SimplifyMySupplements.com, coupon code FTL.
All right, let's go to your calls and thoughts here. Toll-free number for you to bring up anything you want, 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. As we go to Josh in YouTube land. Actually, that's where he's watching us. He's in Los Angeles. Go ahead, Josh. Hello. Josh in Los Angeles. Going once. Josh in Los Angeles. Hello.
Is this live?
It is very live. You're on the radio. Go ahead now.
Oh my God, I'm on the radio?
Yep. Did you have a topic you wanted to discuss, or did you just want to, get all excited?
Well, I mean, we're talking about heroin, so I'm thinking about telling a story.
You got a good
I bet you've got a good story. Go ahead.
One time I was walking down the streets of LA with my friends. We were like, well, I'm not really going to explain what we were doing in the alleyway. But, see, this man walked up to us with a syringe in his arm, and, he was like, "Hey, kid, you got any money?" We asked what it was for. And, see, he said it was for a bit of candy. So he said, so we asked what kind of candy, and he said the kind you put in needles. So we gave him like $5, but then like a year later, we found out that he was actually heroin, and we saw him like yesterday, and he's like, "Hey, I remember you." And wait a second, hold on, my brother's
A plausible
here.
story, Josh. Thank you for the call. We don't have a second to wait, but plausible up until the point where he said that he remembered the kids. I don't know. If he's a real doper, he probably wouldn't have remembered. But maybe.
No, I mean, if they're in the same alley, come on.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I believe believable, right? Like Skid Row, isn't that in Los Angeles?
Why'd kids give $5 to a junkie? I don't know if I believe that part. No. But whatever. I don't even know if that's his real voice.
Yeah, I don't know either. Toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. So again, you can call in about whatever's on your mind here tonight. Mark, you had a story that you wanted to share about this GOP candidate, Republican state Senate candidate. Actually, you wanted me to share, right?
Yeah, my voice is a little shot here.
I've got the story here from Journal Now, the Winston-Salem Journal newspaper. Bertrand M. Gutierrez reporting Steve Wiles, a Republican state Senate candidate who supports North Carolina's constitutional amendment against same-sex marriage. Now, we haven't talked about this on the air, I don't think, Mark, but I heard about it from Daryl the other night, that they're trying to, after that Supreme Court case essentially legalized gay marriage across the country, as I understood it.
Yep.
Now you've got an effort in North Carolina that supposedly...
We're going to stop that.
Yeah, they're going to try to stop that. And actually, I just noticed this is actually an old story, Mark. This is 2014.
Oh, is it?
But regardless, it's still a good one. And
we never covered it.
Yeah. Apparently, this guy supports a constitutional amendment against same-sex marriage. He once worked as a female impersonator at a gay nightclub in Winston-Salem. In fact, Mark, why don't you check this out? Look up Steve Wiles and see what the election results were, because we thought this was a current story when we were discussing it before the show. So the election has probably happened at this point. So he was an impersonator, a female impersonator at a gay nightclub in Winston-Salem, and was gay at the time, according to a co-owner of the nightclub and a former employee. He was 34, so probably 36 now or close to it, and was in his early 20s when he worked at the now-defunct nightclub, Club Odyssey, according to the co-owner, Randy Duggins, and former employee, Gray Tomlinson. He is Mona Sinclair, according to Duggins, referring to Wiles' female personality. Wiles' responses over the past 3 weeks have ranged from categorical denial to tacit admission.
Well, it looks like Steve Wiles. There were about 5,000 adventurous voters that went for him, whereas Joyce Crowellkick managed to pull it off with just under 8,000 votes. So he didn't lose by much.
Yeah, not a terrible loss. He says, quote, "I've already apologized to the people who matter most to me for the things I did when I was young," he said this week, declining to clarify for what he has apologized. The comment was made...
why it would be necessary to apologize for working as a what is this, drag queen?
A drag queen.
And apparently promoter of the Miss Gay America pageant.
The comment was made in the last of 3 separate interviews, and at first Wiles had denied the claim. He had said 3 weeks ago, referring to Mona Sinclair, quote, "That's not me." Wiles responded no when asked whether he was gay. This week, Wiles' campaign website...
Well, okay, so if Mona Sinclair was imaginary and you're no longer dressed up as Mona Sinclair,
then that's not him.
You could say, yes, that is not me. And if you
that's Mona.
consider yourself to be no longer gay, then you could say, I am not gay, right? I mean, both of those things are true statements.
Well, I don't know. Is it possible to really not be gay anymore?
That would be up to the person.
Yeah.
I mean, do you consider yourself gay or heterosexual?
I mean, I'm heterosexual, but
okay,
I've had some gay interactions.
Take you as
there's a scale,
word.
Mark. There's a scale, and I would definitely not be all the way on the Kinsey scale.
Don't you think that that's going to require some scientist? I mean, it's the person's self-identity as what their sexual orientation is that matters.
Well, and I agree with you that's true, but every gay person I've ever met has said that they've always been gay, that it wasn't like a choice that they made or some sort of switch that they flipped.
Some of them I've met have been molested in their youth. I mean, you don't think that there's a possibility that something gets switched at that point?
I have no idea. All I know is they, the ones that I know that didn't say anything about being molested, they all said that they knew they were gay from when they were a child, and whether they were out about that is another question. How they handled that is another question. Did they try to suppress it, or did they embrace it? Did their family, were they nasty to them, or were they supportive to them? There are a lot of different factors, but one factor that always has been the same is they all felt like they've always been that way. So can you really change that? 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733.
Do you know what's lurking in your water? More than 200 contaminants could be sitting there, just waiting for your glass. With a ProPure water filter, start enjoying clean and great-tasting water today. ProPure filters, independently tested, latest water filter technology. ProPure systems do not require electricity and are easy to set up and easy to use. To find out more, visit your authorized ProPure dealer or ProPureUSA.com. That's ProPureUSA.com.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug-out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow, a new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of
where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com. Ross Ulbricht was convicted in early 2015 of running the infamous Silk Road Underground Market. The Silk Road was a gift to humanity and helped reduce the harms brought on by drug prohibition. For this good deed, Ross has been sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole. Now, an appeal is Ross's only chance, and he needs your support. Please visit freeross.org, where you can contribute via various methods, including Bitcoin. Visit freeross.org. That's freeross.org. Free Talk Live has partnered with Amazon, the largest internet retailer. Imagine a department store category, and Amazon has it. Books, electronics, office products, furniture, jewelry, automotive, toys, clothing, sporting goods, and dozens of other categories. Now you can shop and support Free Talk Live by entering Amazon through our website. Go to shop.freetalklive.com, and Amazon will send us a portion of your purchase. You're going to do the shopping anyway, so remember to enter through our site at shop.freetalklive.com. That's shop.freetalklive.com.
Money, power, and respect are all yours at creditsuccesssecretsrevealed.com. Be seen as an industry leader. You can do it. The last application you filled out when it was time to hit submit did your nerves spike. You didn't get the approval you seek, but there's a better way. We teach you exactly what to place into the right systems the right way the first time so you get approved. Get up to $100,000 in instant business credit. Many people will get cash on the spot. Use those two tools in your new corporate credit engine so you can walk into the bank and get your project funded today. It's all about today at creditsuccesssecretsrevealed.com. Credit Success Secrets Revealed is explosive and ignites instant results. Dial 1-800-707-8719. That's 1-800-707-8719. 1-800-707-8719. Or just go to creditsuccesssecretsrevealed.com.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
This is Free Talk Live, and it's the live Saturday edition of the program. Our toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We do have Skype, and Skype username here is LRN.FM. With you tonight, it's Ian.
And Mark.
Also, do want to let you know about Liberty stickers. If you want to reach people with the ideas of liberty, one of the best ways to do it is from the back of your car. With libertystickers.com, you can reach thousands of people if you drive even relatively in often. You can do that with a bumper sticker or more than one, because people love to read them. You can check out the vast selection of witty, poignant, pithy, and downright bombastic liberty-oriented messages. Just go to libertystickers.com to do that. And if they, for some reason, don't have what you want a bumper sticker to say, you can just make your own, and they'll print those out for you, too. libertystickers.com. As we continue here, we'll take your calls about anything more about the anti-gay Republican candidate who ended up losing the election in North Carolina, anti-gay candidate who apparently had a career as a drag queen and definitely was a gay man in his past.
It's not like this has never happened where a candidate comes out against, other people's sexual preferences.
And turns out that that's his own sexual preference.
That they're actually fighting off their own inner demons.
Right. Well, I mean, not necessarily that it's demonic or anything like that. I think it's great to be, for gay people to be gay and all of that.
If they're tortured by some attitude or whatever that might be, it's an inner demon.
I would say he's tortured by the fact that he feels like he can't be who he really wants to be. Let's go to Chris, though. We can talk more about that. You can call in about anything, though. Chris, you're in Indianapolis, listening to WIBC FM. Hello there.
Hello.
Hello?
Hey, you're on the air.
Hey, how you doing, man?
What's on your mind tonight?
I just wanted to comment on a few things. The lady that was on air earlier, I think her name was Deborah.
Mm-hmm.
I think she was saying some pretty outlandish things. First of all, about drug users being criminals. I mean, I'm a former drug user myself, and I've interacted with multiple drug users, and the vast majority of them aren't criminals, to be honest with you.
That's correct.
I mean, at least in my experience.
They're not criminals in that they've harmed other people. They are criminals in that they have broken the law, but those are bad laws, and in my mind, that doesn't make you a criminal. I think that bad laws should be broken by good people, and my experience has been the same as yours. Yeah, there are some bad people who do drugs, but there are also bad people who don't do drugs. I mean, there's just bad people out there, and the supermajority of drug users I've known are just people who want to, smoke a joint at the end of the day rather than, drink.
No, yeah, of course. And more about like the heroin epidemic, because I think that's a really interesting topic, especially in Indiana. I think it's really prevalent, and it's actually hit Indiana pretty hard. In the Midwest and some other places in general, like Ohio and Cleveland and specific cities like that. But I don't know if you've had any experience with it, or you know anybody who has dealt with opioids or painkillers or anything like that. But it really all starts with, I think 70% of heroin users start with prescription drugs. And you're getting that from your doctor. You know what I mean? So a huge part of this epidemic has to do with these pharmaceutical industries that are throwing out all these Vicodin and Percocet and Lortab, just all these different opiates and prescribing them in vast quantities when they have no reason to be doing such. And well,
there might have been a reason. The reason would have been pain management, but you're right. A lot of people do get addicted to those opiates that they're prescribed, and then before they know it, the doctor has to cut them off because there's all these DEA rules and regulations surrounding how often somebody can get these drugs. And so when the doctor cuts them off and they're highly addicted to the pills, they're right to the black market asking around for who's got the pills or who's got something else, and then that something else is heroin.
I was prescribed some, I think, oxycodone for an automobile accident that occurred in like 2004 or 2005, and I'm not touching that stuff. I just said, thanks, I appreciate it. I'm just going to slide this prescription back over to you.
You just rather bear the pain?
Yeah. I mean, I understand that other people, pain's relative. I love being told by women that men have lower pain tolerances, because I've got some of the highest pain tolerance around. But, I get it. If people need pain management, that's fine. I'm just not going to take a chance with that stuff.
Yeah. Thank you, Chris, for your call tonight.
Drink.
I appreciate it. Well, that's also not really a healthy way to manage pain, but
it's healthier than heroin, my friend.
I don't know. It just depends.
You're not going to become addicted to alcohol in that short period of time, whereas heroin, I'd say it's much more likely. Opiates.
No, I mean,
if
you look at the chart that Professor David Nutt came up with from
he's talking about
UK.
the damage, the danger of a drug, sort of on a societal level
and a personal level. He actually looked at both of those statistics.
Alcohol, certainly, if abused over time, is going to be as bad for you as heroin or crack or anything like that.
I don't know, honestly, Mark, which one is more addictive. I think that's an interesting question. But let's continue with your calls here. Either way, they're both very powerful. They can both kill somebody with an overdose, and people should be very careful with both of those things. Just because one is legal and one is more strictly controlled doesn't necessarily mean the one that's illegal and more strictly controlled is more dangerous.
That's not my accusation.
Let's talk to Ryan. He's in South Carolina listening to WRNN. By the way, if you want to call in, you can join us here at 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. Go ahead, Ryan.
Hey, how you guys doing tonight?
Doing great. Go ahead.
Yeah, so you had on the Ross Ulbricht thing, something that I didn't hear talked about was jury nullification. It's interesting. I heard one of you guys said that less than 1% of the cases that are brought to charges that are brought go to trial. There's actually a case a couple of years ago in Wisconsin with a guy named Vernon Hirschberger, who was accused of the crime of selling raw milk.
Yeah, the milk guy.
Of all things.
Yep.
Yeah. And so around the trial, people were handing out pamphlets for jury nullification, trying to bring up the awareness for the jury, basically just to say, to hell with this. This is ridiculous. This guy could sell raw milk to people who want to buy raw milk.
Right.
But the judge actually forbid any talk of jury nullification. He said that they couldn't bring it up. He would not allow it to tell that to the jury. So
now was that federal court? Was that in federal court?
No, this was in a state court.
Wisconsin State Court. All right, so we actually know one of the guys who was over there at the trial. Derek J. Freeman was attending that trial, who was a former co-host here on Free Talk Live, and he kind of reported from that trial. And actually, Derek also went to Ross Ulbricht's trial, where they handed out some jury nullification information at the first day of the trial, and the judge in the Ross Ulbricht case actually openly threatened in court, after removing the jury from the courtroom, openly threatened to sequester the jurors in a hotel. They had been going home at the end of the day, but she said that if the jury nullification outreach continued outside of the courthouse, that she would force the jurors to stay under government watch at nighttime, which would make them think that they might have been under threat by this, evil drug kingpin Ross Ulbricht. And so the jury nullification advocates, unfortunately were asked to leave by Ross and his mother, which was tragic, because ultimately it didn't affect the sentencing in the case. They sentenced Ross the maximum they possibly could. So maybe actually if the jury nullification advocates had stayed out there, even though the judge didn't like it, if they'd stayed out there, maybe there would have been a slight chance of at least a hung jury. But again, as you pointed out, these courts, whether it's federal or state courts, they do not want people to hear about jury nullification. It is a no-no in most places to even broach that subject. Thankfully, here in New Hampshire, you are able to talk about jury nullification in New Hampshire court. Whether you're the defense attorney or the defendant, you can absolutely discuss jury nullification. It's actually basically part of state law. And in fact, there's a new proposition that passed the state house, and I don't believe the Senate has voted on it yet here in New Hampshire, that would actually enshrine jury nullification even further and actually specify jury instructions to be given by a judge if a defendant requests it. So hopefully we're going to see that pass this year, and New Hampshire will be even better on jury nullification. But I'm with you, Ryan. That would have been important. It's always important to try to get that information to jurors. It's just super difficult because the courts find it a threat to their power, and they'll do almost anything to try to put a stop to it, including arresting, in some cases, the jury nullification activists. Thanks for the call. There's more coming up.
Today, how to incorporate your business in just 10 minutes so you won't lose everything if you get sued. Step 1, stop putting it off. If you're not incorporated and someone sues your business tomorrow, it's not just your business at risk. You can lose everything: your home, your car, even your life savings. Step 2, call the following number for a free 10-minute incorporation guide from Incorporate.com. 1-800-940-9829. They don't provide legal or financial advice. They just make incorporating quick and easy. So you can incorporate or form an LLC in just 10 minutes. That number again is 1-800-940-9829. Step 3, congratulate yourself. By taking just 10 minutes to incorporate your business or form an LLC, you protected your home, your car, and your life savings. And that is how you incorporate your business in just 10 minutes. But hurry while they're still giving away these 10-minute incorporation guides for free. Call 1-800-940-9829. That's 1-800-940-9829.
Have you racked up more than $10,000 in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by, making minimum payments? You should know the credit card companies are tricking you into thinking there's no way out. Credit card companies would rather you didn't know that there are ways you can become debt-free, and you don't have to pay the entire amount you owe. There are debt relief programs that help people like you escape overwhelming credit card debt. National Debt Relief has helped tens of thousands of people just like you reduce more than $500 million of debt. National Debt Relief has helped so many people they're A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau. You don't have to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan. You have the right to settle your debt for a mere fraction of what you owe. Reduce a large portion of your debt now. Call National Debt Relief at 800-314-7417. 800-314-7417. That's 800-314-7417.
Understanding your credit score is the first step towards managing and improving it. This is Charlie Sundstrom with your Van Dyke Mortgage Minute. The most influential component of your credit score is your payment history. Almost equally as important is the amount you owe on credit accounts. Also impacting your score, but to a lesser degree, are the length of time you've utilized your credit, the number of new accounts, credit inquiries, and your various types of credit accounts. To help achieve or maintain a healthy credit score, have a system set up to assure your bills are always paid on time. Don't max out your cards. It's better to have a high credit limit with a low balance. Never close old accounts. The age of these can actually help your credit score. But don't be afraid to use your credit. You need several accounts in order to have a credit score. Just keep the corresponding payments within your means. For your mortgage pre-approval and refi needs, start by visiting VanDykeMortgage.com.
Corporate NMLS 3035. Van Dyke Mortgage is an equal housing lender. Charlie Sundstrom, NMLS 134251.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. It's the live Saturday edition of the program. And as always, you can join us here. You can take control of the airwaves and bring up whatever's on your mind. With you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
And Mark.
And Mark, you did mention earlier that we had an old forum that Free Talk Live listeners could go to, the BBS, which has been retired for a couple of years now. It shut down the posting ability on that forum. It's still there, so anybody that wants to see it as sort of an archival format can go and browse around. Go and browse around through it. But it was closed down because it had basically died off. And it was very, very popular at one time.
It sure was.
It did have a heyday, and that heyday was...
Forums had a heyday, right?
Right, and that heyday was before the existence of Facebook and Twitter and those things, which had basically just drawn away all activity from a lot of forums out there, and it just there was no point to keeping it around. So we shut it down. But recently I have started experimenting with some forum software. We do have the Shire forums, which used to be the Shire Society forums, and they've been rebranded. There's a brand new forum software that's in place there. And it used to be just for people who are considering moving to New Hampshire. Those forums are still there as sub-forums of the Shire forums, but we now have some cryptocurrency and Shire media forums. And one of those sub-forums is a Free Talk Live LRN.FM sub-forum. So figured we'd start small and see if there was even any interest whatsoever in this. And so far, it hasn't been an avalanche of interest, let me tell you that. But it's there. So we did bring back a Free Talk Live forum. So for those of you who are not interested in Facebook, I am less and less interested in Facebook as time goes on. I've been trying to cut back. My new rule, Mark, is that I'm not going to click on the Facebook notifications icon until there's at least 20 of them.
Okay.
And I've been doing that now for probably a week or two, and I'm thinking about upping that to 30 from 20, and maybe eventually I'll go to like 50 or something like that. But it's nice because it's cut down my use of Facebook, because I used to go and every time there was a notification, I'd click it. Click, 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 click,
yep.
As soon as there was a notification. And most of the time I'd be disappointed by
this is garbage. This person liked your thing.
Right.
Oh, well, great.
Who cares?
I care, but I don't care enough to click on it.
Personally, I don't care. I actually got a plug-in that blocks the like notifications. So I won't even see the like notifications on my notice list. So anyway, trying to spend less time on Facebook and more time on forums, because I believe they're more productive. I think you're less likely to see a bunch of crap you don't need on a forum. If there's something that's like off topic for a specific forum, forums let you move a post And Facebook will not allow this. It doesn't matter if you have, let's say you've got more than one group on Facebook, you can't move a post from one group to another. That's just not even an option. Whereas on a forum, if somebody posts about the wrong thing in a certain subforum and it would be better off in a different subforum, you can move the post.
Yeah, that's nice.
I mean, this is like basic moderating capabilities, and Facebook doesn't have that. Facebook, you're just given a big ban hammer, and you can either delete the post or not, and that's pretty much it. So if you want to check out the new Free Talk Live forum, subforum thing, you can go to forum.freetalklive.com. That'll take you right to it. That's forum.freetalklive.com. As we go to your calls and thoughts, let's start up here with Jeff in Tallahassee, listening to WVFT FM. Hey, Jeff.
Hey, thanks for taking my call.
Yes, sir. Thanks for making it. Go ahead.
I was calling about the comments about addiction to opiates and other, chemical addictions.
Yeah.
And, just you were saying that a doctor, would just prescribe you things, that you couldn't get off of. And just being the guy that's a little bit older, that's been through pretty much everything you can think of, but I've never done needles or anything like that. But it usually starts off with the doctor prescribing something less than you want. And then you look for something stronger. But to get off of it, it's simply just doing less and less and less and want to do it. And just by not wanting to do it anymore and taking less and less and less until you can actually get off of it without any kind of withdrawal. So,
I think
been through rehab and things like that. And, just whatever addiction it is, I just suggest to listeners, whatever it come from, either the black market or a doctor, if they want to get off of it, they got to want to do it.
Yep.
And just take less and less.
Good advice. Good advice.
Don't you think that want to do it thing is sort of a momentary, like it you get your momentum all at sort of at once, right? And then it kind of wanes if you don't really act on it immediately. When I smoked cigars, at one point I smoked those cheap cigars and I would inhale them, so I was definitely a nicotine addict. And I'd be like, oh well, I got like 70 cigars left. I'm not going to quit now.
Exactly.
So I'd be like, but I want to quit, so I'll just want to quit in 70 cigars from now, which is something like 35 days.
Yeah.
And
I look at it as like a two-path road. Like I'm a successful guy, a business owner, and I had nobody to answer to, or saying like you got to do this and do that, and it would be a Friday afternoon, got paid. From a big, and I could either call the guy or not. And, it's sunny Friday afternoon, and it would be like the perfect opportunity to call the guy and just give in to that opportunity, or just say, I'll just wait till tomorrow and decide. And when I did wait till tomorrow and decided, I was very happy that I did that. And it was my own decision without any kind of repercussions or punishments or anything. It was my own decision.
Well, there was a repercussion. I mean, the punishment is that if you didn't decide, if you didn't decide to quit, eventually you'd end up in a ditch somewhere, probably, and not very well off.
Exactly. Well, I ended up, I never got in trouble with, the law or anything like that, because that is definitely rock bottom for a lot of people. But when it came down to the opiate addiction, basically the guy who was dealing it on the black market disappeared, and I couldn't get it anymore, and only had a limited supply left, and it was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? And it was like the person who was in a similar situation said, well, just start taking less and less and less and less until you can get off of it. And it actually worked.
Jeff, thanks for sharing your story tonight, man. I do appreciate hearing from you. And it's still a hard thing to do for an addict to do that, right? I mean, that's a path that will work, but to commit to that path is a difficult task.
Some addictions have treatments that, and I would recommend your doctor for a lot of these things. Some addictions have treatments. I know that there's things that make it so that alcohol is no longer effective in the same way.
Right. There's blockers for opiates as
opiate blockers. There's for me, I took Chantix to quit smoking. This was before the vaping thing went on.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I probably would have gone with that. But I bought some like herbal cigarettes and took Chantix, and it worked for me.
And it made it so it was like icky to smoke, right? Is that what the Chantix did?
It just was not a pleasant. It was not the same experience by any stretch of the imagination.
Let's talk to Doug. He's in Indiana. You're on Free Talk Live, listening to WIBC FM. Hey, Doug.
Hey, let's talk all about these opioids. It really irritates me because I've been on them for 14 years. I work 70 hours a week. I don't miss a day of work.
Wow.
I've got chronic back pain from it. And to me, people going to heroin is a choice that they're making to do that stuff. I don't take more than what it says. I've been on it, like I said, for 14 years.
What are your doses? What's your daily dose on the medication?
I take hydrocodone 310s or 325/10s 3 times a day.
What's a 25/10? Is that a 10 milligram? What is that?
The 325s are the stronger ones, but like I said, I've been doing that for.
Is it 325, 10 milligram? What's the milligramage of the hydrocodone in the dose?
It's the 10s.
10s. Okay, so you take 3 of those per day?
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Yeah, I mean, if some people would say that that's not good for you, but like you said, you've been on it for 10 years, you're productive.
14.
Or 14 years, you're productive, then that's what counts, right?
Yeah, and, the Indiana's making it harder and harder for people that actually need the stuff to get it.
Yep.
Yeah, every state is.
It's because, somebody's taking it like they should.
Well, it's because
so everybody gets punished.
It's because some politician decides that they know how people could best live their lives.
Yeah, I want to see an end to all drug prohibition, and that includes the restrictions on prescription medications. Thank you, Doug, for sharing your story tonight. It's valuable. Appreciate that. End all prohibition means to make it so that anybody who wants to should be able to go into Walgreens or wherever and buy the stuff right off the shelf, just like aspirin.
This country was built by people who had legal access to heroin.
This is Free Talk Live.
A funny thing happens when you don't advertise. Nothing. Modern advertisers have been trained to look for trackability in their advertising, and web search ads are great for that. They also help you get the consumer that's looking for products like yours in the moment. But they're expensive, and they do nothing to convince people to try your product segment in the first place. If you're a local advertiser, contact this station. If you can use national exposure, Free Talk Live's on more than 150 stations, and we can help advertisers with little budgets and big ones. Send me an email, mark@freetalklive.com. It's mark@freetalklive.com.
Bitcoin.com is of the opinion that the current Bitcoin core development team is not taking satisfactory steps to ensure the growth and advancement of Bitcoin in accordance with Satoshi's vision. As community efforts to resolve these problems have failed, it is necessary to resolve them with a different approach. By using subreddit r/BTC instead of r/Bitcoin and running Bitcoin Unlimited, you are casting a vote against the current development team. Learn more at Bitcoin.com. That's Bitcoin.com.
The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. Did you know you can watch Free Talk Live during our live shows 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cams at cam.freetalklive.com? Plus, you can chat with other listeners while you watch, all totally free. Now that our live video stream is hosted by YouTube, our video archives will be online even faster, so be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Saturday, May 6th, 2017. Silver is trading at $16.35 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,228 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 2.3 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $1,548. Antiwar.com reports the USS George H.W. Bush, an American aircraft carrier parked perpetually off the coast of Iran, appears to have attracted the attention of Iran, and officials say that Iran's use of surveillance drones to keep an eye on the massive U.S. warship is a nuisance. Officials also hyped the presence of small Iranian naval vessels operating off the coast of Iran, claiming them to be naked aggression for sometimes being close to the U.S. carrier, despite also appearing to have never actually left Iranian waters by all indications. U.S. officials have repeatedly made a big deal about Iran having ships off their own coast, while Iranian officials have responded by saying that they think a better question is why the U.S. warships are 7,500 miles away from their own territorial waters and constantly looming around Iranian coast. The U.S. has had warships off the Iranian coast for years, mostly to shore up their constant threats to attack Iran. Iran, by contrast, has focused on a small coastal navy whose use would be purely defensive. Given the mostly offensive nature of the U.S. presence that Iran is preparing to defend itself will always be a sore spot. Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organization to show up in an emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare to the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411, because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com. That's getcell411.com. UPI reports President Donald Trump may now be planning to effectively starve the White House Office of National Drug Control Policy of its operating budget. According to sources and an inter-office memorandum, Trump's budget proposal would strip the office of 95% of its federal funding, slashing the agency's operating budget from nearly $400 million this year to just $24 million in fiscal year 2018. Such a funding cut could eliminate nearly half of the so-called drug czar personnel, 33 jobs, as well as research and intelligence capabilities. A number of programs and grants, including the Model State Drug Laws, High-Intensity Drug Trafficking Areas, and Drug-Free Community Support Programs, would also be shaken by the cut. The dramatic reduction in funds was contained in what's known as a passback document from the Office of Management and Budget, which uploaded the memo to its Max Collect budget database. The Office of National Drug Control Policy, created in 1982 under President Ronald Reagan, is responsible for managing the executive branch's anti-drug efforts and coordinating with state and local authorities on those ends. The ONDCP provides funds for task forces in 49 of the 50 states. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports the city of Portland, Oregon plans to subpoena Uber Technologies to force it to disclose software that helped its drivers evade local transportation regulators, according to a city official on Friday. Uber has acknowledged using the software known as Grayball to circumvent government officials who were trying to clamp down on Uber in areas where its service had not yet been approved, including Portland. It has since stopped the use of the software for that purpose, saying the program was created to check ride requests to prevent fraud and safeguard drivers. Reuters reported on Thursday that the U.S. Department of Justice had begun a criminal investigation into Uber's Grayball program and that a Northern California grand jury had issued a subpoena to Uber concerning how the software tool functioned and where it had been deployed. Portland began its own investigation of Grayball after the New York Times revealed its existence in March. Uber has shared some information with the city but has not turned over the Grayball software itself. The city said it found no evidence that Uber used Grayball to avoid inspectors since Uber was allowed to operate there in 2015. The Portland subpoena does not indicate what criminal laws are at issue in the probe. Likewise, Uber's grand jury subpoena does not list any federal statutes that may have been violated. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
A new report finds climate change skeptics could reach catastrophic levels by 2020. The nation's gratuitously sexual couples announce plans to wait in line at Six Flags. And Grandpa looks absolutely precious in his new baseball cap. Offering a one-stop shop for all your peerless online news summary needs, this is the Onion Week in Review. In response to the escalating violence and rising death toll in Gaza this week, Israel unveiled a new defense system to deflect accusations of human rights violations. Israeli officials praised the new safety structure's ability to intercept an international barrage of war crime allegations and divert criticisms of Palestinian civilian casualties before they can ever hope to make contact with the Jewish state. In other news, a new state law requires doctors to scale an 18-foot wall surrounding abortion clinics. A study finds high school students retain only 1/3 of their obsolete curriculum over the summer, and a man's anxiety is not about to let depression muscle in on its turf.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live, and we're launching into the third hour of this live Saturday edition of the program. Of course, you can take control of the airwaves. You can bring up anything that you want. With you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
And Mark.
Whether you want to talk about the insane war on drugs, which has been sort of the overarching discussion that we've been having, talking about ending prohibition, treatment, the fact that there are drugs that are very, very dangerous that are prescribed to people. And a lot of people start, for instance, with opiate addiction by getting a prescription from their doctor. But, of course, the right solution here isn't more controls and restrictions on those drugs, as, of course, the government will always provide. There's always another, control freak in government who's going to come up with some other grandiose plan to, try to somehow restrict people's access to these drugs. Many of those people who probably do need the drugs. We just heard from a guy who has been on opiates for 14 years and is very productive, he says, in a construction job. So everybody's got their own story, and unfortunately the one-size-fits-all drug laws from the government, they just end up harming the very people that they're supposed to be helping.
I also want to defend my statement. Before we went out to break, I made the statement that this country was built by people who had legal access to heroin. And I think that there's a lot of conservatives out there that tend to support the drug war.
Sure. Because
they don't support doing drugs. And look, I don't support doing drugs either.
I bet they drink alcohol.
Well, whatever. That's fine. I don't want to have that.
They don't support
discussion.
Doing some drugs.
Yeah, well, that's the position of the
hypocrite,
the liberals among us. What I've got to say is I'm actually trying to speak to the conservatives on this one. Is that your great grandparents could get heroin legally, and some of them were addicted to it, and this nation rose to become the greatest, unarguably greatest in the sense of military power, the ruler of the world, and somehow or another legal access to heroin didn't prevent this. So all the arguments about it kills productivity really are hogwash.
Well, right. I mean, they had access to it, and some were addicted, but a very, very small amount. In fact, Law Enforcement Action Partnership, formerly known as Law Enforcement Against Prohibition, has touted statistics before showing that when heroin was legal, you had about the same percentage of addiction as you do now, as far as bored housewives were likely to do it. But, it wasn't a huge epidemic just because it was legal. And in fact, what we've seen in Portugal, since they've legalized, a decade and a half ago, I think now, at least 15 years ago, Portugal basically completely decriminalized the possession of drugs for personal use. So small amounts of every drug have been decriminalized in Portugal, and that has resulted in fewer addicts. It has resulted in more addicts willing to go and get treatment. They're not afraid to go and get treatment. They're not afraid that they're going to be arrested just for trying to go to a doctor to get some help. So that's the real compassionate solution. That's the one that's going to result in the most productivity and the most freedom. Let's go to your calls and thoughts, though. You can bring up anything. Ben is in Mexico. You're on Free Talk Live, watching us on cam.freetalklive.com. Hey, Ben. Hello? No, we cannot hear you. You sound terrible. You sound like you're inside some sort of strange machine. I don't know what that is, but
Leave that to the board op to
I'm
fix.
going to have my board op check in with you there when he gets a moment. Let's go to Rob in Warwick, New York, listening to WVNJ. Go ahead, Rob.
Yes. First off, would you agree that your average person would be euphoric if they believe they won the lottery?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Sure.
There's the dopamine reward system, and this is through evolution for us to, perpetuate the species, gathering resources, mating and stuff. It's like it makes things. It's reward learning. So under its influence, like things will make sense when they normally wouldn't. You know what I mean? It's the driving. It's an ancient part of the brain overriding our modern part. It's the mesolimbic system overriding the frontal cortex, and anyone can research this.
Okay.
And now people don't consider going to college or building up a career and learning and stuff as an addiction, but in a sense it is. It involves the same neurological mechanism
as a dopamine reward.
Yes,
okay.
but we as human species we can prolong this dopamine thing to reach like a future goal. You know what I mean? Like a monkey, like you teach them lever press for a grape or something like that. But if you try, you can't tell them that keep pressing and get it 10 years down the road to grape. They're going to give up. But this is how we differ in the species. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we can see down the road. We can predict, to some extent, what's going to happen if we go on a particular path. We can delay gratification, which ultimately is how you can get to more productivity. If if there's some sort of thing or experience that you want, but you put it off until you've accomplished a certain task, then that will make it more likely that you'll accomplish the task in a short period of time because that reward will be there. Hey, Rob, thanks for sharing your thoughts here tonight. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Now, some of the less productive humans don't really understand delayed gratification. They want to have it. They want it now.
Yeah, delayed gratification's been shown, to even in young children to result in a better life. If you can put off the gratification that you want now till later, you're probably going to have a better life. And
so true.
That's something that everyone can practice. If you can hold on to the money that you have today, it'll be worth significantly more at retirement. So
that's a really long delayed gratification, but it can also be more short-term.
There are a lot of people that just stop working at 35 because they've managed to save all their money up to that point.
Yeah, but it can also be productive on the short term. So, there's this nice television set that you want, or a new car, or some sort of thing. If you don't get it now and instead wait until you have enough money saved up, because some people are like, I want that new television set, so they go to rental purchase places where they get the TV set right then, but they're gonna end up paying 3 times as much for the very same thing because they're paying the high weekly fees to get this device right now. Okay, great. You got a bigger screen TV, but you ended up paying 3 times more if you end up paying the whole thing off after however many months that the payment plan is for. And, of course, by that time, the TVs that are now out are even better, right? So now you can get 4K TVs.
Really?
They're relatively common nowadays.
Can you tell a difference when you look at a 1080p versus the 4K?
I have not been to a showroom that would show me the alleged difference, but if you look online, Mark, you can find that there's a certain calculation of how far or close you have to sit to a screen from the human eye for it to be able to discern the difference in resolution. So I can tell you that if I were to put one in my TV room, it wouldn't make a difference to me because I'm sitting so close.
Your TV room's 8 feet. Right. Oh, so it's farther that gives you better resolution?
Well, no, if you're closer, I guess. Yeah, if you're closer,
How much closer could you be to that TV?
Yeah, that's the thing. I couldn't be much closer to it. I don't think. I mean, it might make a little bit of a difference, but and eventually they're all going to be 4K, so you won't really have a choice. But if you're patient and you wait until you, let's say, save multiple times the amount that you would need to buy that TV, that's kind of my rule. That and I'm no expert on savings, but I like to have, if there's some sort of luxury thing that I want to have at least 5 times as much money in the bank before I buy that thing.
Okay.
Because then I've got a buffer, right? I'm not going to completely deplete my savings in order to get whatever that thing is. That thing is not important it is something that should not be a priority. It can be something that you're saving for, so you delay that gratification, and then by the time you get it, the same kind of TV will be cheaper because technology, thankfully, the government isn't too much in the way of it, and it tends to get cheaper over time, gets better, more affordable, more features for the same price. So by the time you've done that savings, you actually end up getting a much better deal down the line. So toll-free number here tonight, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Whether it's, money management or drug addiction, you can take control of the airwaves here. You can bring up anything that's on your mind. You want to tell us your story, you're welcome to do that. Ian and Mark here in the studio, live Saturday edition, toll-free number 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Plus, we still have the former drag queen Republican candidate for office in North Carolina that we started talking about, and we can continue that as well. This is Free Talk Live. Do you need a website for your blog or new business? It can be pretty intimidating on your own, and that's why Free Talk Live has partnered with HostGator, one of the top hosting companies. HostGator offers a simple one-click, easy installation for WordPress, 24/7 over-the-phone or live chat tech support, and a very intuitive, user-friendly control panel that puts the power of creation back into your hands. Go to HostGator.com/FTL, and you'll get 50% off of their regular hosting prices. 50% off. HostGator.com/FTL. Here's a good idea. When you have a legal matter like creating your will or legally setting up a business with a corporation or LLC, you don't necessarily need a law firm. Use LegalZoom.com. At LegalZoom.com, you answer straightforward questions online, and they take care of the rest. They even review your answers for common mistakes and guarantee your satisfaction. Free Talk Live listeners, you'll get 10% off your order by typing in FTL in the referral box at purchase. Don't procrastinate with these important legal documents. LegalZoom.com.
Hey, diabetics. Yeah, you. Got a spare hour to waste going to the pharmacy to get your insulin or other meds and supplies every month? I didn't think so. Me either. I've got life going on, which is why I use PillPack. PillPack is an amazing online pharmacy. They package up all my diabetic meds and testing supplies into daily doses and send it to me every month, automatically. All I do is pay my normal copay. PillPack does the rest. I'm serious. This is a free service. They don't even charge for shipping. PillPack handles all the medical insurance stuff and even get with my doctors for my other prescriptions so I don't have to, which is good because that's the stuff I forget. But PillPack remembers everything. They even package up my daily vitamins so I remember to take them too. If you're diabetic, your meds and supplies are life and death, which means you need PillPack. Call right now for this free service. You may even qualify for $25 in free vitamins. 800-560-7310. That's 800-560-7310. Again, 800-560-7310.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com. For years, LRN.FM has had a listen line that you can call and listen to LRN.FM anytime. Now we're taking the idea to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line. You can call 641-793-9660 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed, and you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long-distance fees may apply. Just dial 641-793-9660 and choose from the menu. 641-793-9660.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up in any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and it is the live Saturday edition of the program here. With you in the studio, it's Ian.
And Mark.
Our toll-free number, if you want to join us and take control of the airwaves, it's 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Got a website? What's that, you say? You don't? Well, now maybe is the time to go ahead and get one. It's the 21st century. It's about time. 2017. Maybe you want a blog? Website for your business? Whatever it is, HostGator can help. They're one of the top hosting companies out there. And you can get 50% off. That's right, 50% off by using code, or excuse me, not code, but URL hostgator.com/FTL. So you just go to hostgator.com/FTL, like Free Talk Live, and that's how you get that 50% off of their regular prices. And they got a simple one-click, easy installation for WordPress, which makes it super easy to get rolling with your own website. They've got 24/7 over the phone or live chat tech support, and a very intuitive and user-friendly control panel that puts the power of creation and the simplicity of use into your hands. Plus, a 99.99% uptime rating. You don't have to worry about outages with HostGator. It's hostgator.com/FTL, like Free Talk Live. All right, so we've got Ben, who was on a terrible connection on the phone, on Skype, and he sounds great now. Ben, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead. Calling from Mexico.
Hey, guys. Yeah, sorry about that disconnect earlier. I was just, I had missed the first part of the program, but I was listening to some of the people talk about addiction and opiates and all that kind of stuff, and I wanted to throw in real quick, I worked with Ibogaine Treatment Center for over a year, and I actually still work with another one. And what we actually found with addiction is that there was more than one kind of addiction. We had people like the guy that called that came in, they were productive for 20 years, taking small doses of opiates. Even pastors came down that were taking opiates regularly, and they saw the conflict with their religion and the drugs, but they couldn't deal with it because of their back problems. And what we found is that with addiction, there was two major kinds. There were the people that took it because they had a physical ailment, back problems, stomach pains, what have you. And then there was people that had the psychological issues. And the people that had the physical issues could get through it. Like he was talking about, weaning down, slowly reducing your doses on whatever you're taking, and eventually you can get off of it. You do have some symptoms of withdrawal. It is not withdrawalless, I can tell you that for a fact, but it's manageable. But the problem was that most of the people that we saw, 90% of the addicts that we saw, whether they be porn addicts, marijuana, heroin, sugar, coffee, it didn't matter what kind of addicts they were.
You saw coffee addicts?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, man, because when you're getting up and you literally, if somebody says, I can't function in the morning without having my coffee, that's the definition of an addict.
Yes, but do they go for treatment?
Yeah.
He just told you that.
Yeah. Because,
okay, I'm just trying to, I understand.
But what it came down to was they had other issues. They had a psychological issue that they had to deal with before they could get past that. So with Ibogaine, we were able to treat that issues, and then people were able to just drop those problems like they're talking about. And that's why these other countries, like they were talking about Portugal, have seen such success with treating addictions because, as Barry Cooper has recently been promoting a lot with his Ibogaine clinic, the opposite of addiction is connection. So when we were able to actually reintroduce people into like society, to connections with their friends, their family, whatever it is, it didn't matter what their addiction was. Whenever we were able to reconnect them to the world, the addiction just disappeared. They didn't really have that issue anymore.
Now tell me about Ibogaine. I mean, I've heard of it. I've done a bare minimum of research on it, but many of our listeners may be unfamiliar. What is it?
Ibogaine is a plant medicine. The closest thing you can kind of compare it to is ayahuasca. but realistically, there's nothing like it at all. And the big thing that Ibogaine's known for is it almost completely eliminates heroin and opiate withdrawals. So the literal death flu that you go through when you quit doing opiates from large doses, it just goes away and you don't experience it. It's not an accelerated process. Ibogaine literally resets the brain and removes those withdrawals, but then at the same time, it does the other things like ayahuasca does that helps you go on like a journey to figure out what is wrong. We had a lot of people that would see childhood memories, find out, like we had a lady that she had no addictions, but she was terrified of elevators. She could not get in elevators. One floor in an elevator, like she just couldn't do it. And after one dose of Ibogaine, not even a full, like big dose, over 3 hours, she had no problem with elevators anymore. And it all had to do with not even an elevator accident or something. She just had a traumatic experience with one of her close friends as a child that just stuck with her. And eventually it just, your brain is not perfect. It doesn't remember things. And then like a computer looks up something and pulls it up for your use. And if you change something, it saves it back again. Your mind, every time it brings up a memory, it adjusts it, adds new emotions and the stuff you experienced when you remembered it, and saves it again. So each time you remember that experience, it can get worse and worse and worse and worse. So by the time you're from 8 years old to 16, something that mattered very little can turn into something huge, all because that's just how your brain works. That's what PTSD is.
Where is this clinic that one can
Mexico.
Get this? Yeah, Ibogaine? Well, Mexico's a big country.
Yeah, so Ibogaine is completely illegal in the U.S., obviously. It's only illegal, actually, because, well, there's a lot of conspiracy theories about it. Being able to stop opiate withdrawals outright would just destroy the methadone and Suboxone clinics, which is a billion-dollar industry, and not to mention even the traditional rehab clinics, which is a multi-billion-dollar industry. So there's that. Ibogaine's been around. There's thousands of pages of research. Ibogaine's a huge thing, but this place, so I worked with the Ibogaine clinic it's near Cancun. It's just called the Ibogaine Clinic. And then there's also another one that I highly recommend, which is with Barry Cooper, which I was just talking about. I'm sure you guys
We love Barry. We've had him on the show in the past a number of times. Great guy. Good call, Ben. Thanks for sharing that with us. Appreciate hearing from you tonight. And, of course, Barry, the founder of NeverGetBusted.com, also living down in Mexico now, and sounds like a fascinating treatment for people with addiction, the Ibogaine Clinic.
I would certainly do research.
Yeah, definitely worth looking into. And of course, if you are interested in researching drugs, and if you're interested in doing drugs, you should do research, whatever the drug is. Yeah. And Arrowhead.org is my favorite go-to website to recommend to folks to learn about drugs, and they've got information here about Ibogaine. You go to Arrowhead, E-R-O-W-I-D, Arrowhead.org. They have all kinds of different subcategories for each drug. The more popular drugs, the more common ones, the more information you're going to find. If you're looking for some sort of experimental new drug, like one of these synthetics out there, you're not going to find as much. But so, long-time drugs, cannabis, MDMA, LSD, there's a wealth of information out there about things like that. And it looks like quite a bit of info here about Ibogaine, everything from general information, frequently asked questions, information about the law, articles, research journals, and one of my favorite parts of Arrowhead, the experiences, where people will actually write about what happened when they tried these drugs. Everything from first-time experiences to glowing experiences to nightmarish experiences, bad trips. They've got it all here, although it doesn't look like very many bad trips for the Ibogaine. More coming up here in moments. You can take control of the airwaves. This is Free Talk Live, the live Saturday show.
Be prepared for the next disaster with the Shelter Pod. The Shelter Pod is a large, all-season, heavy-duty, quick-deploy shelter. The Shelter Pod system can be set up in 30 seconds and includes an emergency medical kit, water filter, survival tools, and more. Are you prepared to take care of your family? Do you have everything in one place ready to go? Get it now or enter to win a complete Shelter Pod system at ShelterPod.com. The Shelter Pod at ShelterPod.com. Shelter when you need it most.
Are you drowning in debt? Are you struggling to make minimum payments? If this sounds like you, know that it's not your fault. Credit card debt happens to good people. We've helped thousands of good people just like you become debt-free with our Debt Reset program. Our Debt Reset program is customized to get you debt-free in as little as 24 to 48 months with one low monthly payment. You don't pay a dime until we succeed. Call now to see how we can work for you. 800-912-6177. That's 800-912-6177. Again, 800-912-6177.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends radio show. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgoristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agorist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers, and some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agorist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any tomfoolery. So go with AgoristHosting.com. And if you want to get your foot in the door with decentralized marketplaces, Agorist Hosting is now offering Open Bazaar hosting. Go to agoristhosting.com, click on the button that says Get Hosted. Agorist Hosting, that's AGORIST, hosting.com.
For Bitcoin to be ubiquitous, people need to use it. For people to use it, they must have it. How can we get Bitcoin into more hands? Tipping. What if you could include a bonus Bitcoin tip along with your regular tip to a server? What if that Bitcoin tip returned to you if unclaimed after 30 days? An attractive business card Bitcoin tip that's easily claimed, gives instructions on wallets and spending, and returns to the tipper if unused. Tip.freetalklive.com. Tip.freetalklive.com. The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1. Share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2. Buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3. Give $5 a month to the AMP program. You likely buy all kinds of things online. Amazon is the largest online retailer. You can get what you need at the same prices with free Super Saver shipping by going to shop.freetalklive.com. Please do your online shopping at shop.freetalklive.com.
Hi, folks. In a world of GMO, genetically modified organisms, that is, chemicals, processed foods, and a healthcare system that's unraveling like a cheap suit, it's time to prepare. God created herbs, and herbs help man. Our body can heal itself, just sometimes we need assistance. You need some help? GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea.com. Our mild detox is quite powerful with its unique blend of 8 different herbs. And if you're looking for more, our non-GMO supplements will help you with different needs you might have. Health should be a top priority. Take care of your health naturally. Log on to GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea.com. Give your body a treat. Let the herbs do their thing naturally. Read all the testimonies on the website, GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea.com. Sickness and viruses are like intruders, and herbs are like warriors. Let the tea work for you. That's GetTheTea.com.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You can dial in toll free, bring up whatever's on your mind. Our number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We've got Skype, and the Skype username here is LRN.FM.
I think we all know healthcare's messed up here in the country, and it's probably not going to get fixed anytime soon. We need a healthcare system that focuses on health and not sickness. Sure, health insurance pays for treating your sickness, but it gives you nothing for being healthy. Doesn't that incentivize illness instead of health? Well, there is a free market healthcare company that can give you freedom from health insurance. HealthExcellenceSelect.com. They give you, if you need it, want it, whatever, proactive health assessments daily. No charge, 24-hour access to doctors. Also, a medical information card that you can give to EMS, first responders, emergency room, whatever medical professional you want to give it to. Because, you know, all the HIPAA rules, it's made it real difficult for medical professionals to even know what your history is. You can check them out right now at healthexcellenceselect.com. Any kind of doctor, traditional, integrative, chiropractic, acupuncture, massage. You'll love the service and the price, like $600, less than $600 for a family. healthexcellenceselect.com. That's per month. healthexcellenceselect.com.
Let's go back to your calls and thoughts. It's Eric in Delray Beach, Florida, listening online via the LRN.FM app. Go ahead, Eric.
How you doing? I wanted to address this talk you guys are having about the drug war.
Sure.
Specifically, the woman that called in earlier with, I think she said her brother and a son that had gone through some drug problems. And I wanted to kind of quickly go over some facts. I'm doing research for an article I'm actually doing on what's going on with the epidemic. And then if I have time at the end, I can pipe in a little bit about treatment. The main thing that I'd like to communicate to women like that or to people like that that are having loved ones suffer, first of all, is that this is a disease. And there's been a tremendous amount of science over the last 20 years that has shown they've actually identified some sort of genealogical evidence of, an alcoholic or addictive gene. And, it needs to be treated as such as instead of as a law enforcement issue.
Absolutely.
And secondly,
before you go on, you don't help somebody by throwing them in a prison cell. Somebody with an addiction, that is not going to help them. That is going to make their life worse. It's certainly not going to keep them away from drugs, because going to prison, you can still get drugs.
Even if you cure them from drugs.
Yeah.
Is their life going to be better off now that they can't
criminal
get
conviction,
government assist to go to college? Now that they
get a job,
now that they're going to have a hell of a time getting a job,
lose their house because how are you going to pay the rent if you're behind bars? So,
right, the house, the girlfriend, the dog, the CD collection, whatever it is, all gone. Do they still have CDs?
Probably some people.
Yeah. I'd actually go as far as to say in my research, I actually think there's some evidence to show that the U.S. government actually would like to criminalize as many people as possible. We saw that with Haldeman's statements about the start of the drug war in the Nixon administration, where they wanted to break up the anti-war movement and also affect communities of color. When you get someone, felonies, can't vote, your 2A rights are gone in most states. You have a dependency on the state. That's where they want you.
Yep.
And she did say, some pretty interesting things about laws and, Ross broke the law, not even looking at what's just and what's not. And, I'll kind of skip past that because I think you guys address that otherwise, but I'd like to point out to her and other people that, there's some law breaking going on that the American people are just completely being, it's being hidden from them. And that has to do with the invasion occupation of Afghanistan, to where, when we went in 2001, that was actually the second year of what has been called by the UN as one of the most successful anti-drug campaigns in the world. That was the Taliban reducing production of opium in territories they controlled by 99%. Okay, they had got it down to somewhere around 60% of worldwide production. In the going on 17 years of occupation, we've seen it grow to over 90% of the world's heroin, opium, raw opium.
Yeah, we've seen the pictures where the U.S. military troops are actually standing guard over the poppy fields.
It's amazing stuff to see those pictures.
Yeah, and even more so, let's look at this. Afghanistan's a landlocked country where we have been, we've spent trillions there. Okay, landlocked country. We control the airspace. The United States military controls the airspace. We control all the major highways, and yet somehow all of this heroin from there ends up getting to America.
I mean, there's no Western.
I'm sure it goes elsewhere.
But. Yeah,
it goes to Europe. I'm saying, but I'm saying to the Western world in general. I'm just saying it's when you have 90% of the production in the world going on and we are there. We are, the DEA's there. They've spent $7.5 billion in eradication programs since the invasion, and it's gone up. They're wasting money hand over fist, and there seems to be some serious evidence, especially in the Afghanistan government pretty much admits this, and the UN also says that the Afghan government is the biggest impediment, which is basically a puppet government of ours, to where some of the top traffickers are now in their government. The warlords at the CIA have spent billions.
Well, don't forget the United States government's contractors were procuring, pedophilic prostitutes for these same people. I mean, this is the most mixed up. What's that?
The T-boys. They're called Chi-boys or T-boys.
Yeah. I mean, this is the most mixed up stuff going on, and people are like, well, we got to stay in Afghanistan and clean up our mess. My God, at this point, heroin production's up, and the United States government is funding pedophilic prostitutes.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing I disagree with what you've said so far, Eric, is that you're using the word we, and I have nothing to do with
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. I meant that in context of speaking to this woman. I'll destatify myself. When I speak to quote-unquote normies, I like to use that because they look at it as a United States government thing. I'm sorry.
Do you really think that helps, though? I mean, as far as talking to folks, I think it helps to say they, the U.S. government. Separate yourself from those people, because it's not you, and it's not that lady. It's not, unless they were in the military and they did go and guard poppy fields, then they shouldn't be included.
Right. Well, as far as tax dollars and things like that. But yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. All right. So final thoughts. Go ahead now.
Yeah. So, and as far as the treatment parts go, this is pretty. There are excellent medicines for this. Starting with Subutex or Suboxone. Ibogaine has, what the other caller called in about, has also had amazing results and is being blocked by the federal government. There are ways for us to treat people without throwing them in jail, and it's got to start with a complete change at the federal level to where we end this. Not only the drug war, I don't see them ending it right now, but at least let science and the medical community do the research they want to do and use the tools that they know are out there to treat this stuff.
Thank you, Eric. I appreciate your call here tonight. I saw an interesting kind of related story that I threw in my show prep. Congress headline here from HuffingtonPost.com. Congress gives Jeff Sessions $0 to go after medical marijuana laws. Kind of a surprising story.
That much is changing, but marijuana isn't. It certainly shouldn't be illegal, but it isn't going to solve everything. And there's a lot more to be done in this war on drugs.
Oh yeah, no doubt about it. Unfortunately, the government tends to change very slowly.
Yeah.
So while they're while they're considering changes to make, people are dying out there because they can't get access to the medication that they need. Whether it be cannabis or Ibogaine or whatever. 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. If you want to join us on the radio, you should dial now. This is Free Talk Live.
Message and data rates may apply.
When did American men get so soft? Today's average red-blooded American man has less testosterone than his father, and his father has less testosterone than his father. Before we turn into a country of powder puffs, Force Factor is launching the Man Up America event. We want to send every man in America a complimentary bottle of the breakout supplement taking GNC by storm. Test X 180 Ignite, loaded with free testosterone-boosting manliness. Get your complimentary bottle by texting SHAPE44 to 369-369. During workouts, Test X 180 Ignite raises levels of free testosterone in your body to help build lean muscle. Plus, it helps burn fat, fuel sexual desire, and improve performance. Now you can continue to feel like the real men that made this country great. Do yourself a favor. Do America a favor. Text SHAPE44 to 369-369 for your complimentary bottle. That's a complimentary bottle by texting SHAPE44 to 369-369.
Homeowners have much more to worry about than just making their mortgage payment. One of our biggest expenses can be when unexpected repair bills hit us at home. Can you afford to repair or replace your home heating system? What about when your air conditioning stops working this summer, or worse, a major plumbing problem or large appliance that just stops working? Well, with National Home, you can say goodbye to repair bills. That's right. If you own a home, you could stop paying for these costly repairs. Best of all, call now to get your home protected and 1 month of repair coverage for free. Just call 800-887-3022. Simply call our 24/7 repair hotline and pay nothing for covered repairs. Get total protection for your home's major appliances and systems so you have no more costly repair bills. Just call 800-887-3022 and never pay for repairs again. Get your home protected against costly repair bills right now. Call 800-887-3022. That's 800-887-3022. 800-887-3022.
A report published this week found that a growing number of Americans are being forced to make ends meet by collaborating on songs with Miami-based rapper Pitbull. Citing rising income inequality and a turbulent job market, the report found many U.S. citizens moonlighting as recording artists, mixing drum beats, and guest starring on tracks for the Latin American producer.
It's exhausting, between being part of Pitbull's entourage anytime he's on a club tour and mixing new hooks for him every few nights. I barely see my wife anymore. It's not like I want to do another remix with Avicii, but we really need the money. Okay, sure. I need to get back to work.
In a groundbreaking find, paleontologists this week unearthed the earliest known dinosaur stickers on record. Reportedly discovered in a box labeled Greg's Room, the excavated remains of the reptile adhesives include such stunning specimens as a Triceratops featuring the words Dinos Rock, an Apatosaurus sticker, and the extremely rare puffy kind.
This is the Onion News Network.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
We've all heard about blockchain assets like Dogecoin, Ether, and Ripple. Bitcoin isn't the only player in the blockchain game any longer. And for those of us wondering how to get our hands on these digital assets, finally, there's a solution. Shapeshift.io allows you to buy and sell between your digital assets and Bitcoin instantly between your own digital wallets. I've used it with ease. Shapeshift.io. There's no account or email address needed. You send them the crypto you want to sell. They send back the crypto you want to buy. It's that easy. Shapeshift.io.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can bring up anything that you want. Our toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. With you in studio, it's Ian.
And Mark.
As we continue, you can bring up whatever's on your mind. We've got a little bit of good news here, and that is that the Congress, U.S. Congress, has given Jeff Sessions $0 to go after medical marijuana laws, which means they're blocking the Justice Department from spending any money on interfering with the state medical marijuana programs. In the newly unveiled budget bill, lawmakers included a provision known as the Rohrabacher-Farr Amendment that allows states to carry on with crafting their own medical marijuana policies without fear of federal intervention. The bill, which funds the government through the end of September, is expected to pass this week. It's not unusual to find this tucked into a budget bill. Lawmakers have been renewing the medical marijuana provision in every consecutive budget since it first passed in 2014. But what it shows is that Congress isn't interested in stepping up federal oversight of state pot laws under the Trump administration, even as the Attorney General, Jeff Sessions, has hinted that he wants a crackdown. So guess he doesn't get one. So that's a little bit of good news for you. It's Ian and Mark here in the studio. By the way, if you support Free Talk Live and you want to help us out, you want to help us get this message of freedom and liberty and peace on as many radio stations around the country as possible. We've got over 160 great radio stations that carry the show at various times throughout the week because we do the show live 7 nights a week.
Thanks to all of them.
Big thanks to all of them. But we could get more. We could have, 300, 400. It's possible. But we do need to effectively market the show to those stations, and one way we do that is through the AMP program, which allows you to get behind Free Talk Live for $5 or Bitcoin per month, and then we take that money in and invest it into Free Talk Live so we can get on more radio stations around the country, bring new internet listeners on board, and expose new people to the ideas of freedom. So if that's worth $5 a month to you, because it really helps us out when you do this, you can go to amp.freetalklive.com. You can get signed up there with credit card. You can use PayPal. You can do Bitcoin. And you get perks like access to the AMP-only call-in lines, AMP-only podcast, which doesn't have the regular commercials that our normal podcast does, and also the AMP-only Facebook group, which is a great way to interact with other Free Talk Live listeners and hosts. So go and get signed up. Please go to amp.freetalklive.com. We don't have a big budget for Free Talk Live. We pretty much rely on you to help us out here, and we've got some great advertisers as well. But this is another way to connect directly with you, the listener, and you can help us spread the ideas of liberty in a way that no other show can do. No other show is even really trying to do at the level that Free Talk Live is. So please go to amp.freetalklive.com. As we go to the phones to the fun, Carl is in Benton Harbor, Michigan, listening to WSJM. Hey, Carl.
Hey, how you guys doing tonight?
Welcome,
hey,
sir.
Carl.
Great. You're on the air.
Well, thanks. Hey, are you guys familiar with the opium wars back in China?
I'm not familiar
with it. This is the
no.
British government demanding that China allow its opium to come in. Is that right?
Yeah, well, there was a little bit more than that, too. But essentially what ended up happening is you had a significant portion of the Chinese population very addicted to opiates.
Yep.
Because it was completely uncontrolled, and obviously there's not really good statistics for that period of time, but the most estimates you see somewhere in the area of about a quarter to a third of the population was addicts. And the entire term "chasing the dragon" comes from the way that they consumed opium back then. And if you take a look at our own country, we did not have any drug laws for a significant period of time, and there was a lot of opium concoctions on the market that created a very addicted set of the population. And so, because of that, that's the reason why we have these drug laws. And marijuana basically followed the exact same path. Alcohol, they sort of carved out a little bit differently because they have a different cultural context.
But this is like this is the end of the progressive era. People that thought that they could pass laws to make anything, that the government could fix anything. And I think that, like about a decade of alcohol prohibition, about 100 years of heroin prohibition, about 100 years of marijuana prohibition, we've got to have finally figured out that these prohibitions don't work, right?
Well, yes and no. There has to be some way to have a civil society. In other words, you can't have something that sort of runs rampant and takes a significant part of society away from being civil.
Well, like what? Like monopoly alcohol distributorships in given markets? Because that's what we've got. I mean, the government has shown, they've had a century now to get this worked out, and they have shown nothing but ham-fisted incompetence that has resulted in the deaths of tens of thousands of American citizens and many, many law enforcement officers.
What is uncivil about having a smoke of a marijuana cigarette at the end of the night?
Well, when you take a look at it from an individual perspective, no big deal. When you take a look at it from a giant collective perspective, it can be a big deal.
How is that a big deal in any way? I mean, there are millions of marijuana users who are entirely responsible, upstanding members of society in the United States. How is it in any way a big deal?
Well, it all depends what you do after that. I come from a very high risk occupation. Working with very heavy loads, going up very high.
Yeah. So if the person, I'm not saying you should get high and run construction equipment. We're talking about at the end of the day, somebody's, they're at home, they're gonna sit down, watch some television, go to bed later. What's the problem?
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that, but just don't bring it onto my construction site.
Yeah.
There you go. It's your construction site.
I bet you don't let people bring a fifth of whiskey either.
No, I've thrown people off the sites for showing up high, for taking a toke in the can on break, for bringing firearms and alcohol onto the job site. I don't tolerate that.
I totally believe it, because I've known plenty of construction guys who've gotten high on the job before. It's amazing how anything gets built around here.
What's a firearm got to do with it? I mean,
because alcohol and firearms are pretty crappy mix.
Both together.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that. That's there's no doubt about it. A lot of the drug laws out there were created not because people were legitimately concerned about the well-being of their neighbors, but in the case of, let's say, cannabis, it really had a lot to do with industrial concerns for competition. You had, I believe, William Randolph Hearst, the newspaper, big guy who had a bunch of investments in forests, but he didn't have investments in hemp, so he wanted hemp to get wiped out. And DuPont, I believe, was involved in that as well. And so there were these industrialists who wanted to see this product that was competitive to them banned from the marketplace. And they got their way. And they utilized racism. They utilized fear. They utilized lies about marijuana to get that passed. But either way, people should be free to make choices for themselves, even if it's the wrong choice. As we've seen, they will make those choices, whether or not those drugs are illegal. And if the drugs are illegal, what we find is that when people get addicted to them, they are willing to make even worse choices that involve the lives of others, like committing robberies and breaking and entering and things like that. So then they drag other people who have nothing to do with their drug addiction into their problem, and they put them in, in some cases, grave danger, or in some cases, property destruction to acquire the funds that they need to get the drugs that they want. And all of that is driven by prohibition. If
you want to see what legalization looks like, we've got Portugal, we've got Amsterdam. There are ways to see what prohibition looks like right now in the modern world.
Or the end of prohibition.
Yeah, the end of prohibition, excuse me, the lack of prohibition. The fact is the United States State Department has shoved down these drug laws on country after country, and it takes, brave ones that are willing to stand up to the State Department to try something different. And, we can look around us. The opium epidemic is tearing America apart. This crap isn't working, people.
Well, then again, you take a look at your two good examples, Amsterdam and Portugal. Both of them are tweaking their laws right now because they've seen it go too far the other way. And
no, I've never heard anything about that.
The only
documentaries
Portugal. I've seen on Portugal, they're happy as they could possibly be.
If you want to send us a link, I'd love to see that, because all of the evidence so far from Portugal has been that the decriminalization of personal amounts of all drugs has been an overwhelming, unqualified success. Fewer addicts are in the streets, so the idea that they would tweak those laws in any way to recriminalize is, unbelievable, and I don't know if that's what you were suggesting. But again, you can shoot an email over to either of us, Ian or Mark, at freetalklive.com, and we'd be happy to check that out, because I don't buy it. Thanks for the call, Carl. They've got 15 solid years plus of total drug decriminalization. They've got all kinds of statistics and numbers that show overwhelmingly this is helping people. People are better. They're healthier now. They're more likely to get the assistance that they need because they're not afraid that they're going to be considered criminals for being addicts. We'll see you tomorrow night. You can join us online. In the meantime, you go to freetalklive.com.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippie! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadati.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
There's no better app for tracking the value of cryptocurrencies than CoinCap. I've had a lot of apps for tracking Bitcoin, but none that's ever been able to track 500 digital assets at once. Their best feature is the Altfolio. I love this thing. You enter how many Bitcoins, Ether, Dash, Doge, or whatever else you have, and it tells you how much your crypto is worth. You can watch yourself get rich. If you have crypto, go right now to coincap.io, or you can use the Apple Store or Google Play to get the app. I love CoinCap. coincap.io. Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. Facebook.freetalklive.com.
The live edition of Off the Air Live is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network, LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Saturday, May 6th, 2017. Silver is trading at $16.35 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,228 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 2.3 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $1,548. Antiwar.com reports the USS George H.W. Bush, an American aircraft carrier parked perpetually off the coast of Iran, appears to have attracted the attention of Iran, and officials say that Iran's use of surveillance drones to keep an eye on the massive U.S. warship is a nuisance. Officials also hyped the presence of small Iranian naval vessels operating off the coast of Iran, claiming them to be naked aggression for sometimes being close to the U.S. carrier, despite also appearing to have never actually left Iranian waters by all indications. U.S. officials have repeatedly made a big deal about Iran having ships off their own coast, while Iranian officials have responded by saying that they think a better question is why the U.S. warships are 7,500 miles away from their own territorial waters and constantly looming around Iranian coast. The U.S. has had warships off the Iranian coast for years, mostly to shore up their constant threats to attack Iran. Iran, by contrast, has focused on a small coastal navy whose use would be purely defensive. Given the mostly offensive nature of the U.S. presence that Iran is preparing to defend itself will always